man, in case you're wondering, I've relocated temporarily. The one negative this apartment doesn't have is a YouTube setup. So I'm just kind of making the best of the current situation, but I'm very happy to be here. I'm double checking everything. Looks like there is a problem. Okay, bear with me one moment. Okay, so I'm good on Twitter, but am I good on YouTube? Okay, YouTube's kind of the big one. You know, I want to make sure I'm live on YouTube here. Bear with me here. Not sure what's going on here. Okay, there we go. There we go. So whoo, man, a lot to go over. Some interesting head coaching hires. By the way, if somebody doesn't mind, the one thing I don't have connected are my speakers. Somebody can give me a heads up to make sure, give me a thumbs up. Let me know if the sound's okay. I looking at this now, I see the glare off my glasses is a little disconcerting. I toyed around with like sitting back like this, but what I might do is for the next show is change up everything, but this is how things are right now. So hopefully everybody is okay with this. I'm just doing what I can right now. Some interesting head coaching hires. Raheem Morris to Atlanta, a good hire. Some of these hires, I really question who's making the decisions. Carolina threw a curveball with Dave Canales, the offensive coordinator from Tampa. He brought in Dan Morgan to be the general manager. Dan Morgan's interesting, one of my favorite players. I heard a story that the reason why he retired had something like 25 concussions in his short career. It's kind of funny because when he retired, they drafted his replacement, a guy by the name of Luke Kuechly. And I remember thinking, boy, they reached for that guy. I make mistakes. I make mistakes. That's kind of a fun story, but he's now the general manager. And I'm kind of curious who made that decision. Was it Dan Morgan or was it the owner? It's kind of funny because I'm Dave Canales. I was a little, he was a dark horse. I'm kind of wondering if he took the job because he saw what's going on in Tampa Bay and he's like, I can out coach Bowles. I can do a better job than Bowles. Maybe he has a great relationship with Baker Mayfield and he knows that if he goes over to Carolina, he's not going to come back. I have no idea, but that was an interesting hire. Raheem Morris, I thought, was also really interesting. Funk, hey Funk, can you let me know, is my sound okay? It's a new setup. Only here for a minute, and all I have to say is I disagree with one decision the Lions made, and that's the third down they had. The last third down they had, I don't disagree with running a demo, but boy. To be honest with you, the one thing I do want to talk about is the biggest coaching hire is a non-hire, and that's Ben Johnson staying with Detroit as the offensive coordinator. That to me is huge. Really. Some continuity in the coaching staff. One probably kept on telling me Aaron Glenn's going to be the coach in Atlanta. That didn't happen. I'm thinking if you have both coordinators stay and you add to that team, you could have something really good. Listen, if you're a Lions fan at the beginning of the year, if you tell me that, hey, listen, guess what, Detroit, you win You win a couple playoff games, and you're up by 17 midway through the third quarter in the NFC Championship game. Do you say yes or no? And every Lions fan says yes. So don't be discouraged. Don't be mad. They had a fourth down play called, so if they go hurry up and they failed on third instead, they burnt the timeout and lost the game. God. So many things. So many things. I was looking forward to pulling out that preseason Super Bowl prediction of Lions and Chiefs. So I was actually, Keys, I was going to try and locate that myself and run that as a short. Keys, thanks. Keys, I'm guessing my sound's okay. Yeah. I also want to know who the flag was on during the Ayak catch. I don't know. It was a great catch. Valdor. I mean, he was there. Guys handling the ball, I believe. Listen, man. Let me talk you guys down. Let me start off. Ben Johnson's coming back. Biggest surprise. They even announced it like during the game. They were like, Ben Johnson's probably going to get the job in Washington. So I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Listen, Ben Johnson's coming back. Aaron Glenn looks like he's coming back. You got four rookies that really contributed. Is there a better running back combo than Montgomery and Gibbs? I'd want to argue Breece Hall and Cook, but Cook didn't play. I'm sitting there racking my brain. Is there a better running back duo? The three in Miami? I don't think so. So you have a great duo. Laporta has a legitimate claim to be the very, very best tight end going into 2024. If you want to argue Kittle, Evan Ingram, nobody brought up. He said he had like 108 catches or something. Travis Kelce's declined, but in the playoffs, I'll take Travis Kelce over anybody. Yeah. Listen, hey, Funk, 10 years ago, a little over 10 years ago, Chiefs are up 38-10. I think 11 minutes left in the third quarter and lost that game 45-44. We understand. Andrew Luck came back, led a touchdown quick. So what happens is 31-10, he throws a pick six, and then he gets back, scores a touchdown fast, a strip sack, almost returned for a touchdown. A weird play where Andrew Luck gets stripped. The ball bounces right back in his hands, and he dives in for a touchdown. Keith says, no, but they led 3-4 in the NFC Conference Championship game, and most no. Perry, what's up, man? Yeah, so listen, so here's the whole deal. Right behind me is basically an alcove that is perfectly set up for YouTube, but it's not plugged in. The plugs aren't working. The only Ethernet port that's working is one right here. What my apartment complex did is put me in they call it the quote unquote guest suite. It's a beautiful 3-bedroom furnished apartment. It's beyond awesome. It's got everything except a setup for YouTube. So it's kind of funny because they have this beautiful glass table and like some books for, display because it's like a model. And like I got like my Xbox over there. I got like plugs and cables and all sorts of stuff. Next Friday, what I might do is I don't like doing this, but I might just take an Ethernet cord, run it along the floor and be back there and put the screen back up and everything. But man, I'm doing good. I'm doing good, man. He had a great season. Great catch, but Vildor had a position, and there was contact before the ball got there. Makes me wonder who's the flag on. That's all. Key says, I had an argument of the super 49ers fan who said Purdy made a perfect throw. No, he did not. Vildor was in position for the pass, played great defense. Tip your cap. Yeah, it was. I don't know. I don't know, Funk. I'm not going to lie to you. I probably won't go back and watch that too much. Because Keys touches base on the thing that they Wilkes made some fantastic adjustments. So what it is that the fire was in the apartment above mine. So when the fire department came out, hosed everything down, the water comes down into my apartment. I'm relocated here for about a month. I was supposed to have everything out by Monday. I've lived there for a long time, so I keep forgetting. Matter of fact, there's like 4 or 5 things that I'm thinking I should have grabbed over there. So that's kind of where we're at. But yeah, I'm here for a month. It's just not set up for YouTube. Except for that, it's beyond fantastic. It's really great place. So it's time for Brad Holmes to fix the defense, find a wide receiver in the draft. So I've been saying this. I fully expect the Lions to trade out of round 1. And some of you guys have been accusing me of saying the Lions are the same old Lions, but then you want to do the same old thing and be aggressive in the draft. I think this is the year you trade down, stockpile draft picks, and load this team with young talent. And that's kind of what I think the Lions should do. I know they've been trading up to get players. But I think this might be the year they do something different. And this is a good year to trade out because there could be a quarterback that drops in the draft. There could be a wide receiver that drops. Don't be surprised, though, if you find a wide receiver in round 1 that you really like. That's a possibility. But I fully expect the Lions to trade out of round 1. So my question, though, is how much is playoff Travis and how much of it is Travis is finally healthy? I think a lot of it's playoff Travis, and a lot of it is that he sat out the final week of the regular season, didn't need the 16 yards, and that's smart. I think that had a lot to do with it. 11 targets, 11 receptions. I'm going to go over that in a little bit because that's very important. Yeah, the Colts game was absolutely brutal. The 2 worst losses in Chiefs playoff history were to the Colts. I still swear up and down that the 95 season in January of 96, that was the worst loss because that team should have won a Super Bowl. The Chiefs beat the Colts on that Andrew Luck game. They're not beating the Patriots. And if I remember correctly, if I remember my history, Patriots beat the shit out of the Colts the next game. So. Which I'm selfishly happy for as a Chiefs fan because he put it on tape for Andy and Pat. So Wilkes made some good. Yeah. I kind of want to talk about that as well. I got a lot of things I want to talk over today. I know y'all don't want to hear this, but what if Travis goes into the Hall of his brother together? And this is I predicted, Funk, this would be Travis Kelce's last year. And I know he's saying all the right things. He's not going to be around for more than very maximum's 2 years. I don't care what he says. I've seen a lot of NFL greats have retire before they're ready. It happens. So, but it would not surprise me if after this game if Travis Kelce retires. It would not surprise me. Would not surprise me. I want to talk about this too. 49ers defense plays static like 80% of the time. Recipe. I'm going to talk about that in a bit. We got further with a crappy DC. Coaching carousel has been absolutely insane. The Raheem Morris hire, I like it, but I wonder if it's Arthur Blank or if it's the general manager who made this decision because this was the guy that the general manager. Now, if I remember correctly, and I could be wrong, but if I remember correctly, they hired Arthur Smith. By the way, he's taken over as the Steelers offensive coordinator. Great coaching hire by the Steelers. I was thinking, me and you were thinking Bieniemy, Arthur Smith's better. And that's going to work out great in Pittsburgh. That one, Raheem Morris, though, I wonder if the owner said, you know what, you should have got the job the first time. I'm going to make it right. Or if the general manager said, you know what, I passed you up. But I think Arthur Smith was hired first, and then they hired the general manager. I don't know that off the top of my head. In Carolina, because Dan Morgan's a former player, I wonder how much control, is he the general manager in name only, or is he really running things? Like John Lynch is running things in San Francisco, okay? I wonder if Dan Morgan is really running things in Carolina. I really wonder. But he's the one who made a really interesting hire. Slavic, Benny, Texans offensive coordinator. He's staying in Houston, but Ben Johnson staying with Detroit is huge. By the way, I'm kind of, to be honest with you, if I'm Ben Johnson, I'm kind of thinking that Seattle job is a good job. What's a team that's been able to consistently beat Detroit? And like, there's a lot of similarities between Geno Smith and Jared Goff. That I'll be honest with you, I haven't put those two together. I don't think Vrabel and Belichick would work in Seattle. I predicted Belichick in Washington, which to me makes a lot of sense. Apparently, that's kind of soured. Vrabel's kind of a difficult guy, I'm guessing, for management to deal with. I'm kind of wondering. It'll be interesting to see what these two teams do. Winning a division, winning a home playoff game was great. Getting to the end. Oh, yeah. Yeah. If you guys lost in the first round of the playoffs, right? If you lose in the first round to the Rams, I still think it's a great season. Great season. So. By the way, the Jameson Williams touchdown. By the way, I'm sorry, I tweaked my back earlier today or yesterday. This is not super comfortable. I have no back support, but anyway, in my opinion, the Lions should move up for Latu. I have to learn that name. By the way, Funk, before the draft, I will get it down. And JMO really looked good. That play, he stiff-armed Greenlaw, broke the tackle, and it's like, wow, is this the game where they're going to use him? And they didn't want to use him. Reynolds had a couple drops. Don't talk to a Chiefs fan about wide receiver dropping balls, but it was frustrating. I get it. Sick of the forward looks on a game yeah, you're right though. I didn't get that at all. He had that fantastic. I thought that was good after he had that big run. I was like, this is the game you get him involved, and they just went away from it. You told me he reminded me of Oz-Hakeem, but Oz-Hakeem was like 170, and he was also the punt returner, and you had Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt also. I get that he's option number 3 behind St. Brown and Laporta. I'm sitting here, I'm racking my brain. I won't rewatch the game. But why wasn't he used more than Reynolds? I don't know. 49ers made an adjustment by having the linebacker motion out with the running back, so Goff would think they're playing man. Good luck if they try that with Kansas City. Travis said, yeah. I do want to talk about on that. Oh, Denver Gator! Just here to offer my hand to help you guys off the ledge as I talk in a smooth Hollywood voice. Yeah, I know. It's a tough one. You're gonna lose some players in free agency. You're gonna lose some players in free agency. I really think I'm gonna keep saying this when I start doing the draft. I really believe that the Lions will trade out and try to stockpile picks and go for depth. So a little love for Denver Gator. You want to hear something a little messed up? In 57, the Lions came back from being down 17 to beat the Niners to go to. Really did not know that. Did not know that. Funk, I love that you bring up the 57. I love NFL history. Alex Karras. Was it Mel Kime? Some really great Lions teams kind of forgotten in the history of the NFL. So, oh yeah, Keys. Mike Vrabel is an excellent coach. I get like. By the way, I apologize. My back is not handling this really well. So I'm going to be moving around. I want to talk as long as I can, but you have to bear with me. My back's not really handling this overly well. I understand a lot of people think Belichick, the game's passed him by. He might want a lot of player control. He won't. I see that in Seattle. Like I don't see Belichick at all in Seattle, but Belichick to Washington makes a lot of sense. I don't think Travis will retire, but also wouldn't be completely shocked if he did. Yeah, I mean, listen, you're. What if him and his brother just want to do their show, and he wants to hang out with Taylor Swift on tour? And I've said this before. Okay, Netflix. I don't follow wrestling at all, but Netflix signed some wrestling thing to it's something crazy like 5 years, $10 billion. When if you're one of these wrestling groups, you're like, hey, about the Kelsey brothers do like a tag team thing for like $3 million for one show or something. We'll put it on pay-per-view. Are you really going to tell me that that couldn't happen? I mean, but I mean, you never know. You never know. The offensive coordinator for the Bucs got the Panthers job. I'm not high on the Mayo hire for the Pats. Robert Kraft was pretty heated at press conference for hiring Mayo. I don't think Kraft will have much patience. No, he will not have much patience at all. He needs to be successful fast. And when I look at that AFC East, I mean, yeah. I was in the Tampa area when Morris took over. In over his head, hard to follow Dungy and Gruden. He's ready. I agree. I like the Morris hire. I was really expecting. Remember, I had a kind of a dark horse mystery. I thought maybe Mike Vrabel would go with Atlanta. To me, that's the best hire, and I really think Morris is a good fit there. He needs to win though. I mean, he needs to win fast. In the NFC South. With losing the your offensive coordinator in Tampa, you're really in prime position to win right away, even if it's a rookie quarterback. I appreciate two things, especially about Campbell. He has the self-awareness and fortitude to be who he has been. I've openly wondered. And two, he's honest about hard. Yeah, I love the fact that he was honest about how hard it is to get back there. Dan Marino publicly, I mean, he went to the Super Bowl his second year. He just, hey, I'll be back, and never got back. Never. I mean, Marino wins one or two Super Bowls. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. I put him in my list at 5. Most people won't. And the thing is, though, I can make an argument they should be higher. But yeah. I mean, Ben Johnson, he literally turned down both jobs. I personally think he doesn't want to be a head coach. Not everybody wants that. So I think there's something else going there. I think with Washington, I don't think that's really a good job, and I'll tell you why. I think that they would force you to take a rookie quarterback. I'm almost convinced Washington's going to do everything they can to go from 2-1 to put Caleb Williams in position. You watch what Jared Goff does well and what Caleb Williams does well, and they're not even close to the same thing. And I think he's going, look, by the way, watch a Ben Johnson offense. It's a lot of fun to watch. It's multifaceted. It's varied. It's confusing. It's not really. When they played against Kansas City, I said this after a loss, which was frustrating, but they outcoached Kansas City. And one of the things that they did is able to run the ball, but they also took advantage of Goff play action passing and doing some things like that. That Caleb Williams, like let's say Detroit somehow drafted Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams would be lost in that offense. Atlanta, on the other hand, and I think he got offered the Atlanta job. I think maybe he's just saying quarterback. The Seattle job, I don't know if he got offered that job or not, but if I'm like out of what I'm seeing out of what Detroit does offensively, and I'm sorry for the movement. I apologize. I tweaked my lower back, and I'm not really. Yeah, I did bring my chair with me. I took it apart. I was planning on using it now anyway. So I think he will get a head coaching job next year. One thing I'm glad that you said, Funk, is that he was public in saying that he wants to win a Super Bowl. He does want to win a Super Bowl, but that's not why he's staying there. I think he's staying because these jobs aren't really what he wants. And that's a possibility. He's happy as a coordinator. But when you're an NFL head coach, you're set for life financially. He'll be a head coach soon. It's just a question of where. Let me throw out a crazy thing for you. What if he's waiting for that Bears job? Major media market, that draft capital money. So throw that out there. Oh God. Okay. So I kind of thought that this would be the game after that touchdown. I was like, this is the game where Jameson Williams arrives, where you got Amon-Ra St. Brown, you got Laporta, you got Gibbs, you got Montgomery, a guy me and you both liked. Because I know you're a huge Iowa State guy. Teasing, but I remember Breece Hall replaced Montgomery, and it was weird because, like, I remember, like, is Breece Hall better? It's like, nah, he's not better. Like, yeah, he might be. And I thought that was the game. Like, okay, he's the 12th pick in the draft. You traded a lot to get him. Minnesota should have got more, but that's neither here nor there. He's arrived. He's a cog, and then he was almost ignored. But yeah, God, what a great play. What's crazier, Dan, that Belichick and Vrabel are still out there? That pricks. You know what, though? I think Philly did a fantastic job bringing in two guys that can replace him. They brought in two guys to replace him. Oh, God, 29 minutes into the show, brain freeze. Vic Fangio, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Vic Fangio, great defensive hire. Fantastic defensive hire. Him and McDaniel didn't see eye to eye. I kind of could see that, even though it worked. I could see them just having different types of personalities. McDaniel's more of a new school guy. Vic Fangio's an old school guy. Kellen Moore, a lot of people thought he should have got a head coaching job a couple years ago. Out with the Chargers as that's going to be very interesting. I'd love to talk about Harbaugh and the Chargers. That's a lot of funny. But one thing that the Eagles did is they hired two great coordinators. Both of them can replace Sirianni. Both can replace Sirianni. I'm not that all surprised that Belichick. I really thought that when he interviewed twice with Atlanta, that was going to lock it up. But I could see him just wanting too much control. I predicted earlier that he would go to Washington. But Vrabel, I really thought Vrabel would get a job. So we'll see what happens, man. Let's see what happens. Seattle's not a bad gig. Seattle's not a bad gig. It's just you're replacing a guy. I think Pete Carroll goes into Canton someday, and you're replacing a guy that players loved. Carroll. He won a Super Bowl. He went back to another one. You can criticize him for that pass. I get that. But you know, sorry for the movement and shifting around. It's anyway. Yeah, I agree, Perry. Vrabel's a guy. Keep in mind when he started coaching, he coached at Ohio State. I think Vrabel would be great on the college level. Something else a little crazy in 58, they changed to the Bubbles logo in that in the 40s and 50s, used the logo they have on the alternate helmet this year, the same logo they had painted in the end zone 91. That is interesting. Hey, man, I will be back Friday, probably have the layup funk. And yeah, Perry, I understand if the team looks at Belichick as needing a lot of concussions and wanting to do a cultural overhaul and believes it's not just worth it because it's, yeah. Reports about Belichick yeah, exactly. Slasher, what's up, brother? Man, thank you. By the way, great hires. And I brought this up earlier. You hired two guys that Fangio has head coaching experience. Kellen Moore could and should down the line be a head coach. He had a couple great hires as coordinators. Arthur Smith, offensive coordinator for Pittsburgh, also a great hire. Slasher, thanks for the love, man. Dan, if you were the Lions, would you trade for Brian Flores, or you think Glenn is good enough? I would easily trade for Flores. I've never been sold on Aaron Glenn. There is no way that trade would ever happen. But I would do. I really would. It's something that you got to consider. But it would also wouldn't surprise me if Detroit does a lot of things in the draft to upgrade on the defense. So we'll see what happens. Okay, it was $500 million for WWE. FYI, Gronk is known and loved in the wrestling world. Kelsey's brainstorming tailgate. Every team having tailgated because of their football careers. Seriously, I forgot about. I'm not a wrestling dude, so it's $500 million for WWE. Here's a drill. If you're WWE, do you give the Kelsey brothers $10 million for a pay-per-view event for like one fight, and then the cameo thing? One of them comes in and beats somebody up, or I mean, do you remember? It was Dennis Rodman and Karl Malone did wrestling, and I heard Karl Malone was awesome, and Rodman was more like he was there, but I heard Karl Malone was awesome, and they were like, dude, you want to do this full time? And he's like, no, I'm good. But you remember that? Like, are you telling me that the Kelsey brothers couldn't do wrestling like once a year for $10 million? I mean, what number would I said 3, and I said 5, I said 10, I could say 25. I mean, seriously, a lot of people in Kansas City think I've heard to several Chiefs fans 5 more years. No, no. So I think Johnson does want the right fit. I'm a little curious, to be honest with you, Perry. I'm not really sure what it is. I'll be honest, I'm floored, and I'll tell you right now, the Washington job, I get that, because I think Washington's going to say, whoever your coach is, it's going to be you're going to Caleb Williams. And when I love watching Detroit's offense, it's a lot of fun to watch. Nothing Caleb Williams does would work in that offense. However, that offense, I think Geno Smith could do a lot of those things. And you have a good offensive line there, a young offensive line in Seattle, and you have some good running backs. I could see that. But Ben Johnson not wanting Atlanta, the only thing I'm thinking is that you're like, you're not sold on it's either because Atlanta doesn't have to trade up. Atlanta could get their guy at 8, and I'm kind of thinking Penix might be the issue. I don't think so, Key. So Key says Johnson turning down teams seems similar to Bieniemy doing the same. You correct me if I'm wrong. Bieniemy was trying to get a head coaching job, and he was turned down. And the rumor was he interviews terribly. Ben Johnson supposedly had his pick of the litter and said no, but Bieniemy was trying actively to get a job. I think it's a little different. The track review, but let me know if I'm wrong about that. I could be. The track reviewer. What's up, brother, man? Great to see you, man. Sorry, listen, the backdrop, it's a new apartment. The old one, damaged, fire damage. Not the fire was above, the water's below. So I'll be here for a couple weeks. I had so many things I wanted to talk about, but mainly I just wanted to get on here and talk football. I just jacked up. I have DraftKings pulled up about prop bets. By the way, my 2 social media links, still fighting with Facebook. 2 social media links. You have any questions about prop bets, anything? I do want to talk over that because I have some really good prop bet information. Okay, real quick. Lions on the season were 75% on going for it on 4th and 3 or less. Bagley had less than a 50% completion percentage on kicks over 46 yards, and most of his makes are indoors. YouTube Keys. You know what? I didn't know that. I didn't know that. But he was visibly pissed about not getting a chance. That's not like a yeah. Yeah. By the way, Funk man, listen. 38-10. We've been there. The big difference is there's no way that Chiefs team would have gone to a Super Bowl. The Lions. And I'll be honest with you, like I don't want to see the Lions again. And the reason why is that the Chiefs would be the heavy favorites. Chiefs are 2-point dogs in this one. And the one thing is I was on a Niners show, for the dumbest people to ever do a YouTube show for Super Bowl 54. They were saying the dumbest things in the world. And they're all trying to say that they're an underdog. And I kept asking, where are you a 3-point dog at? And one guy's like, well, they're -1 on CBS. And I'm like, 1 and 3 are 2 different numbers. It was just some of the dumbest thing. This is not a lie. One of them said the key to the game, and I thought he was just joking, but he was dead serious. The key to the game was Mike Shanahan, not his son. The guy who's been retired for 15 fucking years was going to be down there masterminding the 49ers game plan. And I thought he was dead serious. That was the key to the game. His retired father was going to outcoach Andy Reid. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. By the way, I'm fully aware to glare off the glasses. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I thought it was like $5 billion or something. Yeah. Are you going to tell me that they do these pay-per-view events? Are you going to tell me the Kelsey brothers, you could not pay the Kelsey brothers enough. You would just the profit from these things are just amazing. I'm not big into wrestling, but yeah. But you remember Karl Malone and Dennis Rodman doing that? We're on the same age, so sorry, Keys. Keys says, haha, I hate Iowa State, and you know it, but I still root for them to succeed and will absolutely push Iowa State. Man, crushes. Dude. Brock Purdy, I was convinced was not an NFL quarterback, but Breece Hall and David Montgomery, I absolutely loved. Yeah, I said on Twitter today, even though I shouldn't feel this way with Mahomes, but I really enjoy those great running games of the 49ers, Ravens, Lions, Packers, Dolphins, etc. Oh, I do. I do. All those offenses are fun to watch. Watching Detroit's offense was a lot of fun. Using Penei Sewell as a tight end was fucking awesome. Love it. I think we need a DC that can be there long-term and who got track record for getting the most out of his players and know how to use the most of what he's got. So what Baltimore did, keep in mind they kept Kansas City 17, so that's a good blueprint. Is remember they got rid of Wink Martindale, and what happened is their linebackers coach took the defensive coordinator job at Michigan for 1 year, completely changed it around, and then they're like, "Hey, we'll fire Wink Martindale and we'll bring you back and promote you to defensive coordinator." Mike McDonald's a guy that doesn't look like he's getting a head coaching job and maybe deserves it. That's kind of an interesting non-hire as well. Not as big as Ben Johnson, but what my point is that you may want to look at the college ranks and take a guy that has been doing a great job on the collegiate level. I don't watch as much college as I should, but I don't know if you remember this. Before Dan Campbell was hired, there was a rumor that the Iowa State head coach was getting a crazy offer to be the Lions head coach, and he decided to stay at Iowa State. So I don't know if that's true or not, but there was a rumor. I wish I could have put that in there. So Lamar and Allen have a lot to answer for, and John Harbaugh as well. Look, if you told me before the game the Ravens hold the Chiefs to 17 points, I'm like, well, Baltimore has this. I should have had the numbers pulled up. I didn't get a chance. I was fucking around the layout, but I think their running backs had like 6 or 8 carries against the Chiefs. The 2 games that Lamar Jackson lost was the 1 seed. Against the Titans, he threw the ball 59 times. People blame the offensive coordinator. I think he threw the ball like 39 times, but the running backs I understand that, J.K. Dobbins went down, and then Dalvin Cook wasn't ready. Maybe. The thing is with Dalvin Cook, the time that he did play, he looks like the same guy. I'm wondering, did he lose a step? Is the offense too complicated? I don't know, but like the Jets, here's a guy that's one of the top 10, probably top 5 running back, and the Jets were like, we're not even going to use you to rest Breece Hall. And Baltimore barely used him. I didn't get it. Here's the thing, though. If Fangio doesn't gel with Mike McDaniel, it's hard to see him getting along with a frat boy man child. It's kind of weird because I just I kind of knew that McDaniel Fangio thing wasn't going to work, but I'm kind of curious. I seriously look. They brought in 2 guys that could be head coaches in the NFL. So Sirianni, hey, beware. Kellen Moore actually interviewed for our head coaching job. For some reason, we took the yap in it. Kellen Moore is a guy that in the next 5 years will probably be a head coach somewhere, even if things don't work out in Philly. And when I say head coach, he may go to college level. He's a smart dude, and I don't blame him for the Chargers not getting to the playoffs. I blame Staley. So it wouldn't surprise me if things didn't work out if you promote Moore and not Fangio. So Jim Harbaugh with the Chargers should turn them around. The AFC West will be a tough division. It will be. It's going to be interesting, Perry Harbaugh. Yeah, and that's the whole thing, is that I kind of wonder how that's going. Oh my God, I got rated and I'm behind. So, oh my God, that's awesome. I got a Dixon Way raid. That's so awesome, man. Thank you. Some Atlanta, dude. Would you guys, can we talk some Falcons sometime? My social media is below. Can I get like when you guys come on, we can talk some Falcons sometime. I had a long time fan, Golden Rooster. He's a Falcons fan. I haven't heard from him in a while. Man, I love talking some Falcons. So this is a little fun fact. Remember, in college, he coached he coached Andrew Luck at Stanford. He was Andrew Luck's coach at Stanford, and they still had kind of a balanced offense. I'm going to throw this out. don't be surprised if he stays there long term, if he does the same thing that he did with Alex Smith and trades him, brings in his own guy. It happened with Alex Smith. He's number 1 overall pick in the draft. The 49ers re-signed him to big-time money. Now, remember, they used a second-round pick on Colin Kaepernick. And, like, physically speaking, Kaepernick was a better athlete than Alex Smith. But one of the things that I don't think Harbaugh got enough credit for is that they dumbed down the offense for Kaepernick. And they're like, we're just going to use this college zone read. You're just going to be kind of a running back and throw deep offense, and then we'll lean on the defense. And then they tried to get him to run an NFL offense. He was just lost. I'm not a Kaepernick fan. I want to see how this works because he's not going to be throwing the ball over the field. I wonder how this is going to work. I haven't even had a chance to talk about this, but their general manager of the Chargers took over the Raiders job. Raiders fans were furious about it. I try to follow all 32 teams on Instagram, and like they all have like a telegram or telecast or something like that. I try to follow as many as I can. A lot of Raiders fans are mad about the Chargers bringing in Chargers general manager. The problem was never talent. The problem was coaching. So if you have the right coach, I think it's a great hire. How well he gets on with Pierce is the big question. Biggest question about the Raiders. What do they do at quarterback? I would love it if the Chargers said, you know what, we're gonna trade Herbert, and I would love it. It would be great. It won't. I doubt it happened, but we'll see. This is so badass, man. This is so badass. Oh my god. Oh my god. The B in the Backtalk Brothers, the great one, the talent. Gooch! If Herbert can get to the next level under Harbaugh, then he's not the guy. Herbert is better than easily. That's the one thing the Chargers have is a quarterback, and I'm kind of wondering if Harbaugh's just going to come in and say, don't be surprised he surrounds a bunch of ex-Wolverines on that team. It's going to be fun, man. I've been listening to you too, man. By the way, please follow me. Let's collab. Let's talk some Falcons. Do you think Washington trades with the Bears soon, or they wait till after the combine? I don't think Williams will be a poor man Murray at best. I think it's just a question of compensation, really. I think Washington. Remember, Washington has an extra second and third round pick, and I think that what they're wanting to do is do the same thing the Houston Texans did. And the Houston Texans were like, "Hey, will you take a first and a third next year when we improve and win a game in the AFC playoffs?" That's what Houston did. They said, "Hey, Arizona, we're taking the first and the third next year." And it looked like the Cardinals stole from the Texans, but I mean, keep in mind if Arizona has a fantastic draft this year, then yeah, but is it going to happen? We'll find out. Yeah, I think it's going to happen. I think it's just compensation. And honestly, I think it'll last a little bit of time, but I think it'll happen before I'm going to give you around March, and I think it'll be a couple weeks after the combine. The only way it doesn't happen if Williams just is either injured or is just absolutely horrible in the interview section. But more than likely, what these guys have been doing is they've been going to camps, programs. Chris Wenke, I don't know if you remember Chris Wenke, a quarterback for the Panthers, won Heisman. He was 75 years old when he won. No, I'm joking. He was 26 though when he won the Heisman at Florida State. if I remember right, second round pick, maybe his first round pick. Didn't last long in the NFL, but he built a business and like an academy where they train players for the combine. And I think that's where Caleb Williams is right now. So I would be floored if Williams just lays an egg at the combine, but that's the only way this trade doesn't happen unless they bring in somebody who somebody like Bill Belichick who wants player control, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So you're in Indiana, Gooch? I've been in Indiana, man. Oh, Hatter's House 710, man. Dude, they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the good line. Hey, listen, Ben Johnson's coming back. If you want to argue that with the Rams, you can. I would take the Lions rookie class over the Rams rookie class. Keep in mind, the thing is with the Lions rookie class is that your best pick, value-wise, according to Dan Talks Football, didn't even play, and that's Hendon Hooker. So, Kellen Moore, not ready. Let him mature as an offensive coordinator. NFL has something, shiny mentality. Great. This isn't going to mean shit to you, but I'm starring that. That's a great comment, Denver Gator. And wonder why teams feel. Yeah, a lot of guys look at the shiny mentality, and it doesn't work. Shiny mentality. Yeah. I think Ben Johnson needs time as an offensive coordinator as well. I think he's ready right now, Perry. I just don't. I don't know why. I don't know why. Yeah. Did I get a name wrong again? God damn it. Kansas City defense, DC shut down. So here's the funny thing. If you don't remember, Zay Flowers had a big reception. Great play by Lamar Jackson. Red blown coverage, hit Flowers in the open field, and then Flowers made a great run. Then when he got tackled by Snead, who blew the coverage, he taunted him and threw the ball down at his head, right? Well, a few plays later, when Flowers was diving for the end zone, Snead punches the ball out. But people don't say, if you watch after the game, watch after that play, Snead's staring him down, but he's doing it 10 yards away, so it's not a flag. But believe me, Snead remembered that and did the right thing. He didn't react to the child beta behavior of Zay Flowers, which, by the way, you're in a championship game. You have a chance to go to a Super Bowl, and you cost your team by taunting. After that play, he hit his hand on his helmet, and his hand was bleeding, so he had to put in OBJ. I don't know why OBJ wasn't playing, but if you taunt, you have to do it in a way that the officials don't see you. Watch afterwards if you want to. Snead's staring him down, but he's doing it 10 yards away. That's my rant. But Lamar threw. By the way, I'm so glad nobody here is talking about the NFL being rigged. I heard a few Ravens fans. For the most part, I'm going to tell you something. A lot of you don't know this. I was born in Baltimore. I'm so old though that I was there when the Colts played, and I went to several Colts games as a kid. For the longest time, I called Baltimore my hometown. I still have family in Baltimore. It's just that it's different because we moved a few weeks after the Colts did, and I had a family member talk some trash on Instagram. I didn't respond. But yeah, I mean, look, part of that was self-destruction. 4 personal foul penalties, all of them were deserved. You can't hit a quarterback in the head. You can't headbutt the chin. You don't taunt. There was one that wasn't called that very easily could have been Roquan Smith, but I thought it was a fair no call. But it could have been. Purdy, look, yeah, I did not. I love Gooch, man. Yeah, it's crazy. I thought it was Greg Roman the whole time. Yet it looks like saying, yeah, why the hell? I don't know. I mean, I should look. I meant to look this up before I went on. What was it? 8 carries by running backs. Yeah. Nick Sirianni was the first coach Andy Reid fired when he came to Kansas City. Look, he was a holdover from an old regime. You'd be surprised at how many coaches. They did a thing. I remember the coach that the coach for the Bucs that won that beat us in the Super Bowl. I'm drawing the blank on his name, but apparently, like, he was fired like dozens of times in his career. Could be in Canton someday. Purdy is an Alex Smith, a guy that's good, needs the right system player to succeed. I'm kind of wondering that. It's going to be an interesting Super Bowl because you can be the tractor or you can be the trailer. I think Purdy's the trailer. But if he outplays Mahomes, we'll have to see. So Tom Brady hitting the booth. How are we feeling about that? I can't wait. I'm actually excited about it. I don't know if it's going to happen. With Brady, you never know what he's going to do. But oh man, this is so awesome, man. Try to pop in a few streams to WhatsApp. Yeah. Speaking of college offenses, when Callahan got hired, there's a video coming out about how he'd have a huge list of plays for every coverage, and they'd see what being played, and then they call plays for that coverage. Yeah, it's funny because oh God, it's funny because it's oh God, I kind of lost track of what I was saying. Part of that clip of Callahan talking, mentioning bringing all those old LSU plays. If LAC trade Herbert, they would. You have to understand, like, it's kind of interesting how I kind of want to talk, because I want to talk about the 49ers versus the Chiefs, and I kind of want to know. I kind of want to talk about that a little bit. I just got wrapped up in the comments, but I kind of want to rant about that. But I also have some Super Bowl prop picks I want to take, and I wonder how much I can get into it. And if you notice, I'm fidgeting around. I'm trying not to, but my back is kind of messing with me. Seriously, people, like, it's funny. I really could see it. I really could see it. I wonder how this is going to work. Flowers might have got away with it, but he did 4 things together: push Snead back down, then spun the ball at him, stared at him. Yeah, he did all these things. And in bottom line, it's funny because if you watch the play after the play where he's down on the ground, Snead's staring him down, but he's like 10 yards away. He's about 10 yards away. That and by the way, Snead not reacting to that that's a man. That's a man. Because I think if somebody did that to me, I might have jumped back up and pushed, and that's offsetting penalties. That play, that taunting might be the difference in the game, because keep in mind, Flowers may not have to make a diving end zone catch after being back 15 yards. So I don't know if you saw it or not, but they were talking about pre-game. There was a lot of pushing, like there was some animosity there, and I think it's good for football. I mean, the Chiefs Bills, that's becoming a good one. Chiefs Bengals and Chiefs Ravens, and it wouldn't surprise me if Chiefs Ravens are slated for Monday night next year. 2 really good teams. And there's some Ravens fans. There was one Ravens fan's like, look, this is our best shot. And they list all the free agents. It may be the best, but it's definitely not the only shot. This Baltimore team's loaded. That's a damn good football team. But for whatever reason, they did this. 6 carries for Lamar, 6 combined for Hill and Edwards, 2 for Flowers. Yeah. I'm with you, Keys. I blame Greg Roman, but this is how do you lose in the playoffs? Well, you take the best running team in football and you try to throw against a really good defense. And the throw into triple coverage, every Ravens fan who says the NFL is rigged, watch that play. He tries hitting the kid out of Coastal Carolina. I can't believe I forgot his name. Number 80 plays. So the Ravens made him a tight end, but he was 6'4", 250. Played receiver at Coastal Carolina too. But yeah. You're not wrong, DG. People are joking around. Pat was trying to light mood at first, but Travis saw business. He looked annoyed as hell. That's when I knew. Travis always has a bit of a smirk and playfulness, but he was always 100% focused in business. Travis Kelce did a lot of instigating. One thing about Kelce, if you look at his personality, he kind of gives off a meathead personality, but I've heard this from several other NFL players. They're like, both Jason and Travis are two of the smartest football players you'll ever meet. So, yeah. What was the hire that surprised you? Which coaching hire do you like the most and which one you didn't like? Canales easily surprised me. And I'm really wondering, and I'm curious, you'll never say it publicly, but I wonder if he is looking at Todd Bowles and going, I can do better than you. Just give me any team, anybody. I can outcoach you. And it also makes me wonder if his relationship with Baker Mayfield is Baker Mayfield saying, I liked, because what him and Canales did was really genius. They switched the offense in Tampa. They were trying to be a balanced team offensively, but they couldn't run the ball. So Canales was like, well, let's throw the ball more, which sounds obvious. It was a quick rhythm passing. Baker Mayfield really lit it up. Baker Mayfield's a pretty good quarterback. And you made things easy for him. And so, but I was really surprised. But I wonder if he's just saying to himself, I can do better in Bowles. And if I leave and Baker leaves, that Tampa Bay's won the last 3 NFC South titles. Well, you sabotage that team. Okay. The Saints are like 87 million over the cap. And even though Atlanta's talented, they don't have a quarterback, which now keep in mind, the one thing, and that's it could be good, it could be bad, is that you're stuck with, oh God. Bryce Young, sorry, I'm so embarrassed about that. Yeah, but you're stuck with Bryce Young. My guess is that Canales saw enough in Young to go, I can do this. I can do this. So Canales was easily the most that surprised me. I'm going to say most is I'm going to say the most is Antonio Pierce. It's a great story. I think the Raiders actually, as much as I blasted Mark Davis for saying, hey, I think he did the right thing. I think he's like, let me look at some other people. Let me come back. Let me think about it. And hey, I come here. One I didn't like. Canales in Carolina is interesting. There are some bigger names, some better names. Bobby Slovic. I also, but by the way, Bobby Slovic. Okay, I'm sorry. The one I didn't like, Bobby Slovic was the one I predicted to go to Tennessee. Brian Callahan went to Tennessee. I don't like that, and I'll tell you why. If you look at Cincinnati, it's a quick rhythm, short passing game. A lot of back shoulder throws. Denver Gators going to hate me for this because Denver Gator loves Will Levis. Yeah, a little facetious there, but Will Levis is completely different than Joe Burrow. Will Levis is that old school vertical passer where Joe Burrow's type of guy just goes like ding, 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 and does a lot of great back shoulder throws. I've watched Will Levis in college because I know Denver Gator was high on him. I never saw a game where like Will Levis went back 50, 60 times and it was just like picking you apart. It was all like he had these big throws. He could throw downfield. He's a big dude. He's not the type of guy that's like going back there and looking left to right and just throwing darts, where that's what Burrow did. And then when Browning came in, they used his athleticism and they're like, let's move the pocket around. But it was basically kind of a spread you out, pick your poison. Will Levis, that's not what he does well. And so I was a little confused. Bobby Slowick, what he did with Houston, and keep in mind, I like CJ Stroud a lot more than I like Will Levis, but the type of offense Houston runs, that's a good fit for Will Levis, even though the Houston running game was not that good. Keep in mind, you're going to lose Derrick Henry. So the Brian Callahan, the Tennessee was the one I really didn't like. I like Mike Vrabel a lot. I don't think this is going to work because I don't see what. Now, keep in mind also, Zach Taylor is he's the guy pulling the strings. Brian Callahan's just kind of there, I'd be really shocked if Brian. No, don't. Here's what could happen. Okay, let me give you what could happen. Levis this year is the full-time starter. Okay, you have DeAndre Hopkins. You have some. Treylon Burks was my number one wide receiver a couple years ago. He finally realizes his potential. Treylon Burks, if you're not familiar, 6'2", 225. He ran like a 4.55, but if you watched him play, I'm sorry, my back is really bothering me. If you watch him play at Arkansas, he played much faster than he ran. He runs fast. Combination of injuries, inconsistency, he blows up. Okay, Tyree Spears, the third-round pick out Tulane. I really like this kid. He becomes a full-time guy. Young pieces on the offensive line. By the way, my number one offensive lineman last year, Skowinski. Sorry about that. They moved him inside to guard. He looked awesome at guard. Wasn't surprised they kick him out to tackle. The offensive line gels. The defense is really still good. And you turn on Levis. That's what could happen. Here's what I think will happen is I think that AFC South is quietly a really good division. I think Jacksonville's got the most talent. They just fell apart. Houston, that could be building something. Keep in mind, their first and third round picks are in Arizona this year. They pick in the second round. What don't they need? They need help at running back, maybe. Singletary came up late, but he's still going to be there. There's not much that young, talented team needs. And then you have the Colts, who Jonathan Taylor had his holdout. Well, he's there. I don't know what you got in Anthony Richardson or not, but yeah. So what surprised me, Canales, I like the Antonio Pierce hire. It's partly the story. Partly I like the way the Raiders didn't just jump into it. They did their due diligence. Smart move too. So my point is for LSU's, they find a place for Burrows in various coverages. Adding Callahan and Taylor, they had heavy LSU offense for Burrows system quarterback. Yeah. Every guy should have said that. Yeah. I just don't see that working in Tennessee for Will Levis. And by the way, man, every Denver Gator big Will Levis fan. So I'm sorry. I just don't see that offense in Cincinnati being something that Will Levis could step into and excel at. Where Joe Burrow on a team like Tennessee, I think would turn that team into a 12-win team instantly. So. Yeah, Mullet threw a punch. I think Kelsey started some stuff like messing with the kickers stuff, and I go back to that throwing in the triple coverage. Another thing is that the way Lamar Jackson threw to his helmet, I think there's a few players on that Ravens team that's seen Lamar do that. And it's like, just like Patrick Mahomes yelling at the ref for the Kadarius Toney offsides play. That was like the only time you ever see Patrick Mahomes like lose his cool in 6 years. Lamar does this through 2 or 3 times a year, and I really think as a man, you kind of look at Lamar Jackson like, is this the guy that I can? Is this the guy I'm going to run through a brick wall for? I really wonder that. Yeah. Every Ravens fan says the game is rigged. Access play like Lamar ran backwards to the 3 through the ball. I didn't get that either, Keys. I didn't get that either. The line of scrimmage was 25, went out of bounds. Oh, you did it. It was at the 20. It was actually at the 20. And, because Lamar actually made a great play by throwing it high. So you can't really tell. It has to be obvious. And it wasn't. It was actually a great play by Lamar. Also a great play by Drew Tranquill. What a great free agent signing was Drew Tranquill. And by the way, you're right. The job he did, by the way, Dave Canales was the quarterback's coach in Seattle, offensive coordinator at Tampa Bay. But I was really floored that he got the head coaching job. So the coaching hire I like the most is nobody bringing in Vrabel or Belichick. Do you think May falls in the draft? Do you think Penix or Daniel would fit with the Falcons? I really think Penix is going to be the pick at 8 for Atlanta. I really do. I think, and I think Jalen Daniels is going to go before 8. I think Atlanta's going to stick at 8. And I really do. I think Penix is a guy that's going to run. So Jalen Daniel, I say Jaden, it's Jalen, or is it Jaden? JD. I remember when he was a freshman. It was kind of funny because Herm started him as a true freshman at Arizona State, which I thought was really surprising. And I remember really liking him. It's just that they listed him at 175, and it's like, you're not 175. If you're 175, I'm like 220 or something. One thing, if you notice, Bryce Young at the combine had a big hoodie and a backpack that he wore, and he didn't weigh in. I think he weighed in early, but he did that so he could appear bigger. It wouldn't surprise me if Jaden Daniels does something very similar because I'm going to guess that he played at LSU somewhere between 180 and 190, and you can't be that weight. He's a legit 6'2", 6'3". It's just that 40 years ago, 40, 50 years ago, as a guy that you would say, hey, look, in the NFL, you can play defensive back or receiver. Now he's going to be, I think, a top 5 pick. But I think Penix right now is the guy. I think Atlanta's just kind of circling like, I can get him at 8, and he can come in today and start, and we can go to the we can go. I really thought Slowick, the Texans coordinator, that was the guy who I thought would be a better fit. To me, this is a square peg in a round hole because what Will Levis does is not anything close to what Joe Burrow does. So I really don't like it, but I hate saying that because I don't have an issue with Brian Callahan. It's just that when I look at that Titans team, and by the way, Denver Gators going to hate me for saying this. Levis is not the dude that you want throwing the ball 50, 60 times a game and tearing you apart. Or Joe Burrow, you want to put pressure on him because you don't want him throwing the ball 50, 60 times a game. I don't like it. But look, I also think Zach Taylor was more responsible for the offense than Callahan. We'll have to wait and see. I don't think so personally, because you got some players there. Titans, Titan. You know what? Off the top of my head, I apologize. I don't have this memorized. By the way, before the draft starts, I will have this memorized. Titans pick 7th. Man. I don't think so personally, but I'm also curious what they want to do at offensive line, because Skornansky, I thought, should have been a day one starter at left tackle. They moved him inside. He played fantastic, by the way. It's just Tennessee won, 5-6 games or whatever it was. They win 10 games. He goes to a Pro Bowl as a rookie. He's that good. You have some holes at tackle. You have some questions at defense in the secondary. I don't know if there's a corner that you want to take in number 10. My draft crush, Roma Uduze, he might be there at 7. I don't know. I don't know. Tennessee's a team I would really think, if I'm Tennessee at 7, keep in mind Atlanta at 8 needs a quarterback, is a team I'm really looking at as saying, hey, what do you want? What do you want? Number 7 for sale. That's kind of what I think they should do. Is I think they should trade down, and they got some free agents, and they have to figure out what they want to do. But they easily could, yeah. Sorry about that. I just hit something. I have no idea. I have no idea what I did. I hit something accidentally. The setup's not like I normally do. I'm putting everything on this glass table. But yeah, sorry about that. The Colts should go O-line or wide receiver. Well, here's the drill. They're probably going to lose. Second round pick out of USC, guy I absolutely love, big name in free agency, and I'm drawing a complete blank on his name. Yeah, he's yeah. Dan's Coke break brought to you by Hunters. I have no idea what the fuck I did, Keys. I really don't. Oh God. I think Pat was really pissed about the TV taking off of Travis's highlight reel, and Pat holding in his frustration with the wide. Yeah, a lot of that is. But the thing is that Lamar Jackson's had multiple hissy fits every year. Like this isn't the first time where he would do that. That's the first time Patrick Mahomes let his frustration off. At the referees. That was the first time you ever see Patrick Mahomes really lose his cool. I think when you see somebody do that 4 or 5 times a year, like Lamar has, it makes me wonder. From what all accounts, everybody, and by the way, the press conference, I like what Lamar said. He had a lot of plays that was oh my God. But yeah. Maybe Pat knew Travis was going. I think he goes in round 1. I saw a mock draft where he goes to the Rams at 19. I think it's 19. I don't know why I deleted that sheet. Since we got some draft questions, and yeah, 19. I saw a mock draft where he goes 19 to the Rams, and I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. I think Bo Nix is the 5th quarterback going in round 1, and that's it. You got the Oh God. Oh God, you guys are fantastic. God, I've missed you guys so much. All right. let's talk prop bets and let's talk football bets. You now know what Dan's always says: bet bills to snort. Oh God! All right. So I got DraftKings pulled up right now. Chiefs are a 2-point dog in this game. A lot of people may try to make this out to be a revenge game. It's really not. 4 years, a lot of team personnel changed, a lot of coaches changed. A lot of players changed. So I mean, it's not really a revenge game, but the Niners are a 2-point favorite. I'm going to be a little ticky-tacky here. I would probably put the 49ers as 1.5, but 2's fair. Over-unders at 47. Okay, so here's what's – excuse me. Prop bet 101. If you like an over, bet it now or yesterday. And if you like an underweight, okay? Look, I'm a Chiefs fan. And oh God, these are, you know what? So when Dan hooks up with a woman, he doesn't ask, "Is that an Adam's apple?" Instead, he asks, "Are you wearing?" Okay, you know, actually, let's skip this. Perry asked a fantastic question with the 49ers. Okay, so here's what I think the 49ers are going to do defensively. I think the Niners, what they're going to do is you got to show some different looks. You can't do the same thing. But I think you're going to see a lot of the 49ers trying to rush with 4. And keep in mind that defensive line is loaded and deep, and they're going to rotate people constantly. But I think you're going to see a lot of 4-man. I don't think you want to blitz Mahomes. You got 2 linebackers that are fast and that can cover. Here's what you do. If you're the 49ers and I'm Wilkes, I'm saying, okay, if the Chiefs beat me, they're going to do it. I'm going to take Kelsey away. Easier said than done. But when Kelsey played the 49ers the first time, 7 catches, 43 yards, and 1 touchdown. FYI, any touchdown Kelsey, any touchdown Kelsey is a good bet. This is not a dumb question, Keys. Dumb person asking a betting question. Doesn't matter if being a home team or away. It does not. It does not. It does matter in the playoffs. Location should matter because San Francisco is much closer to Vegas, but Chiefs fans traditionally travel well. I was in Vegas for the last time the Chiefs and Niners played. There was a lot of 49ers fans, and they suck. They were obnoxiously shitty and they just sucked. I'm just like, I don't know why I'm doing this now, but so yeah, it doesn't matter. But I am a little surprised that the Chiefs have stayed as a 2-point dog. I think action's going to flow towards Kansas City. So, but to answer your question, what the 49ers need to do to beat Kansas City is that you take Kelsey away. Tre'Davious Ward played for Kansas City. You lock him on Rashee Rice. Maybe give him some I expect a lot of 2 deep, just old school against Mahomes. Don't let Mahomes beat you deep. And you say somebody besides Travis Kelsey has to make plays. I let Pacheco run for 100 yards. I wouldn't be surprised if Pacheco has a really good game. But what you want to do is you want to say, look, I'm going to put 7 back. I know Mahomes is going to get about 20, but can we get a turnover? Can we eliminate Kelsey? Can we eliminate Rice? Can we have either MVS, Kadarius Toney, McCole Hardman, one of these other guys beat you? Option number 1 you want to take away is Kelsey. Option number 2 is you want to take away Rice. Let Kansas City run the ball. Look, you got a lot of good defensive line players. What you want to do is you want to have Kansas City move the ball downfield, but you want them to kick field goals. And then you want sacks and you want a turnover or two. Offensively, I think Christian McCaffrey has to have a game. I really think he has to have a game. I think Deebo Samuel has to have a game. And what you really want to do if you're the 49ers is you don't want it to be Purdy versus Mahomes. You really want to lean on McCaffrey. By the way, in the first game, in the first half, Deebo Samuel's a runner was tearing it up, then they just went away from it. So how can Kansas City counters what the 49ers do? On offensively, it's all going to be about scheme and play design. Robert Saleh, I think overall did a solid job as defensive coordinator for the 49ers, but Kansas City made some plays. The 3rd and 15, the Wasp, that'll go down in Super Bowl lore, one of the greatest plays of all time. The first touchdown when they were down 21-10 was Kelsey. The final touchdown, when the score was 24-20, was the zero coverage. The running back got through the hole. So it's going to be scheme, play design. It's going to be scheme, and it's going to be play design. That's what the Chiefs are going to have to do. What does Kansas City have to do to beat the Niners? I think really what you really want to do is it sounds really bad to say, but you want to eliminate McCaffrey and then say, Purdy beat us. That's what I would do. I expect Kansas City to throw Purdy a lot of different looks. I expect a heavy blitz package, a lot more than they did against Jimmy Garoppolo. I think the Kansas City Chiefs will try to play a lot of man because you want to eliminate Kittle, and that's a problem. But you take away those 2 wide receivers. You want to have Jennings. I forget the third wide receiver. You want to have them beat you. You want to have Purdy beat you. On the offensive side of the ball, what Kansas City wants to do is simply when they get inside the red zone, and they're going to get inside the red zone several times. Is it field goals or is it touchdowns? If it's touchdowns, this could be a blowout. If it's field goals, then I'd be very scared because San Francisco's offense is loaded. So, what I thought, I saw someone say it was -1, more like -4 in Kansas City. So, yeah, so that's an old school saying, getting a little advanced on you, but it's closer like 2.5 now. But home team always gets 3. That doesn't apply for the Super Bowl. It doesn't matter who's home or away. Some people think it does. It doesn't. It really doesn't. What's in neutral field. Now, when it's a neutral field, sometimes there is an advantage one side or another. Okay. For example, Jacksonville, that goes to London every day. Or every day. So they go to London every year, even if they're not the home team. Jacksonville will get like a point or a half a point, and that's the general betting public. The point spread will vary and fluctuate on betting preferences. I think action will go towards Kansas City. I think 49ers should be favored. It's ticky-tacky. I would have put it 1.5 for 1, not 2. But if it gets to 2.5, I would be floored. And what would happen? It would have to be a heavy bet. People in San Francisco got money, man. So the over-under is 47. I think it could fluctuate a little. I don't think it's going to go crazy high, but it'll go up a little bit. It could be 48.5 by kickoff. Problem is with 4 rushers and bracketing 2 guys, Kelsey and Rice, that leaves you with 3 defenders. And I kind of think that that's what you're going to see a lot of. I really think that what you're going to do is you're going to put Ward on. I think you're going to see Ward on Rice quite a bit. And then I think they're going to bracket Kelsey. All right. So then you got 4 defenders, and you'll see a combination of Kelsey being triple covered. I really think you'll see this. And I think you'll see Rice bracketed. And then what they're going to do is they're going to say MVS against number 2, Kadarius Toney against number 2. So No, they played him back in 22. It was his first game as a 49ers. And there's not too much of a difference between D'Amico Ryan's defense and Wilks. There's not a big difference between D'Amico Ryan's defense and Robert Saleh. The one thing about Wilks was that he made some really great adjustments in the NFC Conference Championship game. And I expect him to make some adjustments against the Chiefs. I think that you got to confuse Mahomes a little bit. So, but as a base package, I really think that you're going to see a four-man front. You're not going to see, I would be shocked if they blitzed more than 5 times in this game. I think you're going to see them just sit back with 7. I think they're going to say, you're not going to run screens against us. You're not going to run draws against us. The crossing routes, that's a big one. You have to play assignment ball. The key matchup, I think, is going to be Charvarius Ward against Rashee Rice. And Rice is probably going to make a catch or two. And Ward's a good enough corner that he's going to have an impact. It could be Charvarius Ward against Kelsey one-on-one the whole game. And then they may want to bracket Rice. And you'll see something. And it'll be interesting. I want to watch Ward because I think what's going to happen in this game is I think you're going to see Ward lock up against Rice a lot. Jet sweeps and crack tosses are, if I recall correctly, Detroit was using against Wilkes. Yeah, a lot of misdirection, and that's something that you're really going to have to worry about early on. Is that I think the Chiefs will come out there. You're going to see a lot of different personnel with the Kansas City Chiefs in this Super Bowl. You're going to see a lot of you'll see some 13, and then you'll see 3 wide receiver. You'll see some empty set. You'll see some heavy sets. But I think as the game goes on, I think as the game goes on and on, you'll see a particular formation group really take off. And I'm kind of wondering if the Chiefs want to line up with multiple receivers and say, hey, Justin Watson can make plays. MVS, who stepped up the last 2 playoff games. They didn't ask a lot of them, but he made plays. Kadarius Toney had a huge punt return. Against the Eagles was a big play. He's going to be healthy. Does he make plays or does he drop passes? We'll have to find out. So it's going to be played in Vegas. Is that right? Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are the winningest head coach quarterback combo in that stadium. I like Wilkes is a fantastic defensive coordinator. He really got screwed over in Carolina. He should have been the head coach at the Carolina Panthers instead of Frank Wright. They made a swing and a miss. And I think Wilkes is the guy. Next year, there's going to be a team that says, yeah, this is our guy, regardless of what happens in the Super Bowl. Ward does not have to change the direction to take on Kelsey. That's a matchup I want to watch because are they going to put him on Kelsey or are they going to put him on Rice? Are they going to move him around? Are they going to ask him to do different things? That's going to be a big matchup because here's what I think is going to happen. I think that they're going to lock Ward and Rice up and they're going to say, occasionally we're going to give you coverage, help, and occasionally we're not. We're going to try to confuse Mahomes. Sometimes we're going to fake man, sometimes we won't. They got 2 really good linebackers in pass coverage, Ward and Greenlaw. I think they're going to cover Kelsey part of the time. Part of the time, I think they're going to have safety help. Remember, they're starting safety. Ward left in free agency, Hizanga, something like that. He was injured and it affected the Niners a little bit, but they kind of adjusted. But they got some pieces missing in that secondary. So I'm kind of curious because I think the Chiefs are much more successful when they run the ball. But even with a 4-man front, I could see the Niners being able to stop the run and then saying, okay, it's 3rd and 6 or more. We're going to take Kelsey away. Ward's locked up on Rice. What are you going to do, Mahomes? Do you go one-on-one against Ward? That's going to be fun. Rice will win some. Ward will win some. Ward's a pretty good corner. Does Ward play press on Kelsey? And do they want to take your best cover corner in Ward and okay, you know what? No, you're going to beat us with Rice. We're going to take a rookie, and you have to win the game. You're a rookie, win the game, and that's going to be interesting to see. I think Ward's going to stay with Rice, but that's the first thing I'm going to do is that I'm looking at Chardavius Ward and saying, are you playing against Kelsey? Are you playing against Rice? Are you flip-flopping? Remember Seattle's old defense under Dan Quinn? They wouldn't rotate their corners, just one's on one side, one's on the other, and that's what they do. I don't think Wilkes is that way, but do they do that? You're going to see a lot of motion and a lot of shifting with the Chiefs offense like you always do, but we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't be surprised. I'm not sure who the Giants hired instead of Wink Martindale. I should know, but I don't. I really should know this answer. Dable's a guy who rubbed some people the wrong way. It's all fun and good when you beat the Vikings in the playoffs, but when you're what was it, 6-11 or whatever it is. I honestly, I think Belichick will sit out 1 year. He'll do some TV. I think he'll surprise people by doing some TV guest spots and ace it. I think he'll be excellent. And New York would be a good fit for him. New York media would love it. Yeah, it really would. We'll see what Dable does. Dable's on the hot seat. Before next year starts, I'll probably break down the coaches on the hot seat. Dable's among the top, though. They do. Keith says, thankfully, the Chiefs know all of Ward's weaknesses. The Chiefs line up under center, first down play action pass. I wouldn't be surprised if that's in the first 15 plays, maybe once or twice. I think you'll see a lot of screens and a lot of draws. And keep in mind, Greenlaw and Warner, fantastic guys that can do it all. It's going to be a great game. If the Chiefs lose, to be honest, the 49ers top to bottom have more talent. So if the Chiefs win this game, they have to beat a more talented team. When they played 4 years ago, the Chiefs easily had a more talented team. I tried telling a Niners fan that, to be honest, they just weren't that good of a team. Oh, they went to the Super Bowl, you moron. I was like, dude, they won 5 games the next year. And they had injuries, but they didn't have they had injuries, but like it wasn't like the whole team fell apart. No, they kind of got lucky, to be honest with you. They had a last place schedule. They beat a bunch of cupcakes. It was like their first 5 or 6 games of the season. They started off, remember, like 8-1. Their first 5 games were against teams that had backup quarterbacks or something like that. And honestly, the Chiefs should have won that Super Bowl by they made it look good because they didn't play the ball they didn't play that well. Chiefs should have won that first Super Bowl by 3 or 4 touchdowns. They really should have. But this is different. Brandon Ayuk, I think he was a rookie that year. He wasn't nearly as good. I mean, this year's easily his best year. He's playing for a lot of money. He's going to get it. Deebo Samuel, he looked healthy against the Lions. Remember, he was knocked out of the game against Green Bay. God, there's times where he looks just amazing. George Kittle, first team All-Pro. That's debatable if you believe that, but I mean, God, he's a really good tight end. George Kittle's really, really good. So I mean, yeah, you're gonna see a lot of it. I think Rice needs a good cornerback on him. If the 49ers let him run wild. Yeah, I think Ward, my guess is Ward's going to play a lot of man on Rice, and that's kind of what's going to happen. That's what I think is going to happen. And then what you'll do is you'll see a lot bracketed on Kelsey. But if I'm San Francisco, and this is what I think they're going to do, is they're going to say, we're going to take Kelsey away. We're going to put Ward, our number one option, on your number two option. We'll double team Kelsey, beat us. And that's what I think is going to happen. Is Ward going to go? That's the very first thing I'm going to look for is where is Chardavius Ward on this team. 12-13 personnel, double tight end motion. Lions motion to running back. Try to see if it was man or zone. That double tight end motion makes what San Francisco did versus the run motion nearly impossible with that double tight end motion. I'm kind of curious how the Chiefs are going to attack this because I like it when they use the big personnel. I like Noah Gray a lot. But I'm kind of curious if the best way to beat this Niners team is just to line up 4 or 5 wideouts because they do have some backups in that secondary and just have Patrick Mahomes like against a really good pass rush, just quick, just ding, 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 ding. And, you know, that's kind of what I'm wondering. And then what you want to do is that in a situation like that is you take shots downfield. It'll be interesting to see what the Chiefs, how the Chiefs handle the 49ers defense. Ravens keyed in on first down runs, and Andy spammed the same runs after we got the lead. No disrespect to the Niners defense. It's not as good as the Ravens. They got some really good players. I just brain fry. I want to say Travis Ball. He had Travis. Trying to remember. He had a 15-yard penalty where he punched Mahomes in the face. He wasn't a cheap shot. He was trying to swipe the ball, and he hit Mahomes in the head. I mean, you hit the quarterback in the face. It's 15-yard. It's Travis. Anyway, he's a guy. He would have been, if he played at Alabama, he would have been a top 10, top 15 pick. Went to UConn. Ravens stole him in the third round. Love that dude. Matabuke, third-round pick out Texas A&M. Love that guy. Those guys had great, great years. Travis Jones, thank you. Yeah, love that dude out of UConn. He's a guy who went down to the Senior Bowl and was just dominating. And people are talking about him going in the first round, but he played at UConn. I'm telling you right now, Travis Jones had an Alabama helmet instead of a UConn helmet. He would have been a top 15 pick. That was a guy. I remember Kansas City was using some 3-4 looks, and I'm like, yeah, let's get Travis Jones. But really love that dude. I think Kansas City needs to run the ball a lot with Pacheco running down the clock. I think Pacheco is going to be key. They tried to run. Pacheco was successful against Buffalo. He wasn't successful that much against the Ravens, but they did use him quite a bit, and he's kind of the glue to this team. I think it's very important for Pacheco to have a big game, and when I say big game, I'm not talking 150 yards. I'm not talking 100 yards. I'm talking 2nd and 6 instead of 2nd and 8. When he's in pass coverage, keep Mahomes clean. I'm expecting him to be used early in the passing game, but I think that it wouldn't surprise me if he has like 4 or 5 catches, but they're all in the first quarter. Don't be surprised, first 2 drives of the game, you're going to see some screens to Pacheco or just flush Pacheco out to the side and just dink the ball out in the flat. But you're doing that so you can it's a chess game, Don't be surprised if the Chiefs take a shot early downfield or if the Chiefs go short or if the Chiefs do short and long and just try to confuse the Niners. But Pacheco is going to be key. We downgraded at wide receiver and offensive tackle position on offense over the Super Bowl 54 offense. San Francisco has us at both positions. We upgraded our interior offensive line over Super Bowl 54, though, and upgraded Pat just based on experience. Our defense is much better than the 54 defense. But one thing I kept on pointing out to why I thought the Chiefs would win is that the Chiefs defense I thought was better than the Niners defense. But people kept on saying it's offense versus defense. I was like, no, go back look this up. I'm going to tell you the answer, but look this up if you don't believe me. The Niners gave up 310 points that year. The Chiefs gave up 308. But the last several games of the season, the Chiefs defense was on fire, and the Niners defense was giving up big time points. And I tried bringing this up to on that show I was telling you about the Niners fans. They're like, well, the Niners are playing against good teams. Well, what the fuck do you think the Chiefs are? You turned around like, oh, the Chiefs are favored. The Chiefs are, everybody thinks Niners, we're the underdogs. But, hey, our defense didn't play good against good teams, but we're going to be fine against the Chiefs. And it's like, what do you think the Chiefs are? There was some, I got kicked out of that. I think they just put me in timeout. There was 4 dudes. One of them I followed, but then on Twitter, I responded today. They just weren't that good of a team. And they started name calling. I'm like, dude, you don't have to name call. They weren't that good of a team. This year, it's different. What's your breakdown of both teams, quarterback, wide receiver, tight end? Okay, well, I mean, it's funny. That's a great question, Barry. I mean, quarterback. Here's a drill. Is Purdy the trailer or the tractor? We're going to find out. But I fully expect CMC. So here's the best bet to make, and this is probably the bet I'm going to make. Super Bowl MVP Super Bowl MVP Mahomes is plus 125. Forget the 2 points. Forget the money line. If you're a Chiefs fan, the bet to make is Mahomes MVP because there's nobody on the Chiefs that's going to win MVP unless Chris Jones has 5 sacks or Travis Kelce has 250 yards receiving and 4 touchdowns. Quarterbacks easily Mahomes. But how good is Purdy? Because Jimmy G is definitely the trailer. With Purdy, I don't know. I mean, look, tight ends, George Kittle's first team All-Pro. George Kittle's special. Playoff Trav, I'll take any day of the week. Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk are fantastic receivers. Easily the better receiving group. Rashee Rice has played well. So, the Chiefs have the better defense, though. That's the one thing that stands out. I tried telling people 4 years ago, Chiefs had a better defense than the Niners because Chiefs gave up 2 points less. But the Chiefs defense the last several games of the season really turned it up. Where the Niners defense towards the back of the season really didn't. Chiefs gave up 20 to Detroit without Chris Jones. 49ers gave up 31. Probably should have gave up more. So it's a question of let's break this down very simple. Okay. Niners have more talent. Their starters are better than our starters. Chiefs have better depth. Chiefs have a better coach. They have a better quarterback. To be honest, the 4 years ago, the Chiefs should have won that Super Bowl by a couple touchdowns. They really should have. They were much better. This year, the Niners have the better team. Chiefs have the better coach quarterback. It's going to be a fun game. If both teams play an A game, the 49ers win. That's the truth. I like to think that the head coach quarterback, the Steel Keys thing is better. The Niners top to bottom have more talent. They really do. They really do. CMC could easily be MVP. We talked about Brock Purdy at one time being MVP. Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk's going to get a lot of money in free agency. Probably not for San Francisco, but he's going to get a lot of money. Debo Samuel in the playoffs, that's a dude. And George Kittle's amazing. I didn't even talk about the best player on the Niners, and that's Trent Williams. Trent Williams can make a case that he's one of the best 5 left tackles in NFL history. He's that good. For my money, I'll say it's Anthony Munoz as number one. Willie Roaf, when he was a Chief, he was easily the best player on that team. It wasn't even close. It's funny because people talk about, I don't know if you remember Priest Holmes or not. A lot of people are like, Priest Holmes should be in the Hall of Fame. I was like, he was like the fifth best player on that Chiefs offense. Number one was Willie Roaf. Willie Roaf, as a Chief, as good as he gets. If you told me Willie Roaf is maybe the second, Willie Roaf probably top 5, top 10 left tackle of all time as well. Anthony Munoz, for my money, is the best left tackle of all time. If you told me Trent Williams is number 2, I'd like, let me think about this. Yeah, I got like Jonathan Ogden, Orlando Pace. You can go Art Shell if you want to go old school. Let's just make this simple. Niners got more talent. Chiefs got better defense, and they got the better quarterback and the better head coach. That's the way I see it. And that's why, like, if I was going to bet this game, I'm going to tell you the bet I'm going to make. I'm going to put Mahomes MVP for plus 125. I'm just going to go with DraftKings. I got like a small balance in there. So who has better player position groups? Chiefs quarterback, defensive tackle, Niners safety, linebackers, edge. I don't know about safeties, but linebackers and edge. And by the way, like Greenlaw and Warner are really, really good, but Tranquil and Bolton are really good. Drew Tranquil, what a great. By the way, Willie Gay's probably going to be gone in free agency. I would love to see Drew Tranquil get like a 4-year, $60 million deal. By the way, the Ravens linebackers are better than the Niners. Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen's probably leaving in free agency, getting a boatload of money. If we the Lions kept running the ball after going up, I kind of think that. The Gibbs fumble really, really sunk you guys, but I get why you gave him the ball. Yeah. It's funny because I remember Kyle Hamilton was coming out of Notre Dame and people were talking about him being this great player. I'm like, listen, he's not Derwin James. He's not that good of a guy. And he's better. I was so wrong about Kyle Hamilton. God, that guy looked like there was like 2 of that fucker out there. God, he is so good. I was so wrong about him. Chiefs quarterback. I don't know about tight end. In the playoffs, I would take Kelsey, but I mean, regular season, Kittle probably. I mean, Kittle's really good. Interior offensive line, 49ers running back, offensive tackles, receivers. Yeah. I'd argue tight ends iffy, but head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, special teams, Niners, nothing. By the way, you're right. But if the Chiefs win, Mahomes is going to be MVP. That's why the bet is plus 125. I'm going to go in some prop bets here because I do have some interesting prop bet information. But by the way, for prop bets, again, I say this over and over again. If you like an over on anything, bet it now. If you like an under, and there's a good under, I'm going to give you a really good under. Wait as late as you can. And there's one I'm circling. Tyrann Mathieu and Kendall Fuller. By the way, Kendall Fuller is a really good player. Fuller being used in a versatile hybrid position was better than what we have now at safety. No disrespect to Reed, Edwards, and Connor, but Connor's shown up big as a rookie. I've been really impressed with Justin Reed, too. I think he's a guy. Remember, we gave Tyrann Mathieu a 3-year, $42 million deal. Didn't offer him a deal. Instead, we gave Justin Reed, I think it was a 3-year, $20 million deal. And at first I was like, man, God, I mean, because Tyrann Mathieu tried saying, oh, they didn't even offer me a deal. 0% chance Tyrann Mathieu took a 3-year, $20 million deal, but we got the Texans safety, and he's really good. He's really good. Edwards, I think, on a 1-year deal. Correct me if I'm wrong. He's been decent. He's probably not going to be back next year. Byron Cook, he was really, really playing well before he went down. Hyenga, the safety for the Niners, he was playing at a phenomenal level. Big loss, but they rebounded. And Connor, it's funny because like they mentioned him playing corner. I'm like, yeah, but he's it's kind of cool what they do. They do with him. Connor, a guy that you were kind of brought up in preseason. I kind of forgot about, but I did like the kid. But outside of safeties, it's hard to see where we didn't upgrade over our Super Bowl 54 defense in basically every single position, especially our linebackers and corners. Spags says this young guy's had the smartest IQ players he's ever had. Yeah, Nick Bolton's a guy that if he didn't get hurt this year, I'm like, oh God, how much money is he going to ask for? Because he got hurt. I'm hoping that we can sign him to less than what he's worth because of the injury he had this year. Drew Tranquil has been playing just phenomenal. Oh God. Jason Peters is, yeah. If I'm Spags, I span Trent Williams with our worst edge rusher and keep CJ 95 lined up on the center. Yeah. Don't be surprised though if what I'd really like to see the Chiefs do on the flip side is put Karlaftis and Hannah consistently on Williams, especially Karlaftis, and just have Karlaftis wear Trent Williams out. So, yeah. I saw a P home toy yesterday at a Peters was good as Whitworth, not in the same stratosphere as Munoz or Peters is really good. That's another one. I have to go back and think about left tackles of all time. Willie Roaf. God, people don't realize how good Willie Roaf was. Peters is better than Whitworth, but Whitworth is really good though. In the playoffs, yeah. But I would say if I was like, I mean, Kittle's. If you want to say Laporta deserved first team All Pro over Kittle, I get that. Jags fans may complain. No tight end. A matter of fact, he almost set the all-time record. I want to say it's 108, 109. Evan Ingram, but Ingram's really a big receiver. So is Kelsey. Kittle can block. I don't know. I mean, I mean, for the Super Bowl, I'm taking Kelsey, but I don't know if I'm sitting here going, the Chiefs got better tight end. So here's the deal, though. I love Noah Gray. Fumbles happens, unfortunately, happens at the wrong time. Oh, Gibbs is a fantastic weapon. The Gibbs-Montgomery duo, I think it's the best duo in football. When you're trying to ice the lead like they were doing, I might have gone more Montgomery. But yeah, I'm not mad at him though. I mean, that's not like oh you're bad. No, I'm not mad at him. Yeah, it's just unfortunate. Kittle's your guy. Yeah. But like seriously, the Kelsey brothers would bring like an. Let me throw this out there, okay? Because I know you can't get enough of Taylor Swift. When if the Kelsey brothers are there and in the stands is Taylor Swift, like how, like what kind of pay-per-view money are you getting? I mean, yeah. Yeah, Tyrann. I heard that from a lot of Chiefs players, but a lot of Chiefs fans, but I love Tyrann Mathieu. By the way, Tyrann Mathieu, I would welcome back in Kansas City wholeheartedly. If Mike Edwards is leaving, I would welcome the Saints have to cut, but I would love to have Tyrann Mathieu back in Kansas City. Kittle and Debo are up there in age and injuries taking a toll on this their last chance. So I don't think it's their last chance, but Debo Samuel was injured against the Packers, and he's always had injury issues. Kittle's never really been a guy that's had injuries as well. It's not really their last chance because I think Purdy has the potential to be a star. And what will happen is, unfortunately, running backs have a short lifespan. I mean, CMC is not going to be there doing the same thing he's doing for the next 5 to 10 years. He's just not. Trent Williams sooner or later is going to be gone, but you have some really good pieces on that defense. Now, keep in mind, Chase Young's going to be gone. I think Randy Gregory's going to be gone. Eric Armstead's getting up there in age. Greenlaw and Warner are older guys, but they're still really good. Not as good as the duo we saw in Baltimore, but it's not the last chance because, I mean, you're bringing back a lot of weapons next year. And I think Williams, even at 37, is going to be maybe the best left tackle in football. So, I mean, look, last year, if they just had a healthy Brock Purdy, maybe they beat the Eagles. I would say going into next year, I mean, the two teams I'm really fearing is I'm fearing Detroit with Ben Johnson coming back. I want to see what free agency does, and I'm also curious how's Detroit going to handle being the favorite, being on prime time, not doing that underdog role thing, which is something that I think they milked a lot this year. They can't do that next year. It'll be interesting how they handle that. I revert back to Riverboat Ron. Made the Super Bowl. He was 15-1. Cam Newton was MVP. Next year they're 6-10. The Riverboat stuff didn't consistently work, but it had 1 year where everything came together. So we'll see what happens. But I don't agree with it being their last chance. Maybe their best chance because Williams only has a year or two left. Maybe Whitworth won a Super Bowl at 40 or 41. Williams may be able to play that long. So Connor and Nazeed Johnson, assuming he comes back healthy next season, are going to be fun to watch. Don't forget Byron Cook. He was a guy that I thought was really, really, really underrated. He's going to come back. I'd like to see Edwards come back. I would welcome Tyrann Mathieu with open arms because I love Tyrann Mathieu. Yeah. He said Bolton's the smartest players that have been around outside of Antonio Pierce. And also Drew Tranquill's just played. Willie Gay is going to be gone. He's a cap casualty, but can we sign Drew Tranquill? What Tranquill, I think you told me 1 year, $3 million deal for Tranquill, or is it 4? But yes, Perry wants more Taylor Swift. Keys can't get enough of her. Kittle could have more chances. Holmes is a great running back with Z. Oh God, that would be so much fun. Yeah. The one thing is about Holmes that he was like the 5th best player on that team. You have Hall of Famers Willie Roaf, Will Shields, Tony Gonzalez. Brian Waters got nominated for the Hall. He probably won't ever make it. But he was a guy that if he played on a perennial winner or won a Super Bowl, Brian Waters would be in the Hall of Fame. He's that good. The only offensive lineman to win AFC Offensive Player of the Week. Brian Waters, really great player. Although all those guys were better than Priest Holmes. So kind of irritates me when people talk about like Priest Holmes deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I'm like, did you see that offensive line he ran behind? Yeah, the guy went to a couple Pro Bowls at center. Brian Waters probably should be in the Hall of Fame. Left side's in the Hall of Fame. Jonathan Tate, first round pick. Not bad right tackle, but easily the worst one. Yeah. Kittle has the benefit of being the 4th best weapon in this offense. He's hidden. Kelsey was nearly the guy for the whole season. He was he was getting doubled. I wouldn't call him the 4th best. I would put him maybe at 2 or 3, but he's better than Ayuk. But I get where you're coming from. He won first team All-Pro for a reason. I mean, he's a really good guy. Yeah, we need more of that. I think Tyrann is gone because he stopped tackling, smart player, a great robber. But I think Spags is really emphasizing that being and that, that's one thing all the safeties are doing. So we'll find out. I think paying Purdy $50 million a year is not worth it. I think 49ers need to take their chance on a quarterback in the draft if Nix or Penix is there. Well, that's what they did with Trey Lance, and that was a mistake. So I think that they're going to stick with Purdy, but that contract's going to be tough. One Pride, what's up, brother, man? Hey, listen, Ben Johnson's coming back in the most. All right, sorry, my back is. I do have my chair set it's taken apart. I brought it into the apartment, but I just haven't put it together. But one pride, man. Listen, Ben Johnson's coming back. Nobody thought you would go to the NFC Championship, so yeah. Johnson, if I recall correctly, was drafted as a safety, but the heavy rumors are he had past Jalen Watson and Joshua Williams as cornerback number 3 on the depth chart heading in preseason before injury. That I didn't know. I was kind of surprised that Williams or Watson supplanted Williams. Williams was a guy I was really, really high on. I thought could be cornerback number 2, but Jamal with Pat would have been a lot of fun. Jamal in this offense would be unfair. That's why the NFL need to go by best player by decade. I think you asked that if I could do like best players of the 50s, 60s, 70s, and yeah. I agree, Perry. I agree. CMC and Debo, the 49ers offense, in no ways to top 2 in that offense. I don't know. I mean, I don't know because I don't know if I would count Debo as more important than Kittle. I really don't. I understand what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think there's a part of me. Now let's do this here. I didn't have a chance to do this. I spent a lot of time before the show just trying to figure out how we can get everything set up. But let's look at the stats here. For the Niners, and when you go to receptions, Ayuk leads the team, and wow, Ayuk was his second yards, third in receptions. McCaffrey had 67. CMC's option number 1. If you look at the numbers, it's Ayuk, but I think Kittle's the guy. And by the way, 65 receptions, 10, 20, and 6 touchdowns. And I know he's a good blocker and everything, but I don't know if he's really first team all pro material, but yeah. Well, Ayuk's going to make a lot of money in free agency this year. I love Debo Samuel. I'm leaving out the 37 carries, 225 yards, and 5 touchdowns. So leaving that part out. Yeah. So it's hard to say who's a better weapon, Debo or Kittle. But the thing is, by the way, you're 100% correct. And by the way, like when I say this, here's the drill. The 49ers easily have the better team. When I say better team, they have more talent. That's not debatable. The 49ers having more talent's never been a debate. I believe in the Chiefs, and I also believe in Patrick Mahomes. So it sucks losing the game, but we had a great season. We can build on this season. Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, look, you got 4 rookies that played really, really well. And I'm not going to call Gibbs a starter, but Brian Branch, oh my God, how good is he? Jack Campbell. Okay, so one pride said he thought he could be Brian Urlacher. No. But he's going to be an above average starter who's got some size and a lot of ability. It wouldn't surprise me he goes to a coach. It wouldn't surprise me if he's in Detroit for the next 10, 15 years, goes 3 or 4 Pro Bowls, and Lions fans love him. Okay. Brian Branch looks like he could be a stud. And then you get Laporta. He may be the best tight end going into 2024. He might. And then you got Gibbs. And don't forget about Jameson Williams, who you guys didn't use that much. You're going to have some toughness. You're going to have some tough moves to make in free agency. You got to figure out a way. By the way, this offseason, there is no way you're going to sign Amon-Ra and Penei Sewell. No way. You can sign one or the other. I think you sign Amon-Ra and then play hardball with Sewell, give him, franchise him and use the 5th year, which you're not going to get with Amon-Ra. This is matter of fact, if I'm correct, this is Amon-Ra's drafted 3 years ago. So this is it. So you got to sign him this year. There's no way if I'm Amon-Ra, I go into the season with the current contract. No way. And if the Lions trade him, God, how awful would that be? You're 100% correct. I mean, here's the drill. Like that offensive talent is just amazing. And what's funny? Out of all those guys, I think Trent Williams is better than all of them. I would not even debate that. Most people will tell me CMC is better than Trent Williams. I am not that one. So, but you're 100% correct. That's why this game is so much better than the one 4 years ago. Is 4 years ago, Niners fans are like, hey, we got this great defense. You guys don't. It's like, well, we gave up fewer points than you did. The 49ers were 3rd in scoring defense. The Chiefs were 2nd. And the 49ers were 3rd in scoring offense. And the Chiefs were what? 15th, 17th? I don't know why I closed this menu. 15th. Yeah. So like when you talk about the when you talk about how yeah, it's yeah. Kyle, yeah, Shanahan needs to out coach Reed. If he does so here's the deal. If you want to say which coach, if Shanahan out coaches Andy Reid, if he out coaches Andy Reid, the 49ers win this game by like maybe 20 points because they have the more talented team. So it's Travis and Pacheco. Now it's Travis, Rice, and Pacheco, but Rice and Pacheco are in the Niners' worthiest weapons, 5th and 6th. Yeah, probably. Pacheco's. Pacheco's. Well, I think it's pretty safe to say he would be number 2. Where would Rice be? Rice would be number 3 receiver. So. Branch could be a better CJ, GJ. You're right. And he probably won't be back in Detroit next year. So you're right. He has 4. Going on 5. Get 1 for the thumb. No, it's 4. 2 here in Kansas City, 2 in New York. That's so here's the drill. The big it's going to be Spags versus Shanahan, but then you got Andy Reid against Wilkes. And I can't wait for that matchup because that's the big one is how does Wilkes attack this team? And I think the best way to do it is to let Kansas City run, just use 4, just rotate those defensive linemen and try to hold Kansas City to field goals and do it, play a very conservative game plan. And, 2 deep, 4, Ward on Rice, bracket Kelsey, and have Mahomes with Noah Gray and Cardarius Tony MVS. That's what I would do. This is just going to be such a great game. The Sun God doesn't seem like he would fare like he would be fair at the Lions. I think he wants to be the man with us. He wants to win with us. The Lions win a Super Bowl. The players will forever be legend. All right, so here's the drill, Perry. People always feel like this about their team, and I get it. And he may love Detroit, he may love the fans, but if there's a team out there that's going to give him $35 million a year, and I say $35 million a year because I said this a few weeks ago. If I'm the Lions, I give Amon-Ra a 6-year, $200 million deal, and I reset the wide receiver market, partly because you completely anal rape the Vikings because Justin Jefferson won't stay unless he makes more than that. So you put them in a tough position. Then you can stagger that contract so that in a few years you can afford to pay Penei Sewell. Because if I had to choose between the two, I would pay Penei Sewell, but with Penei Sewell you have the 5th-year option. Tyreek Hill was set to sign with Kansas City until Devontae Adams got 30 million, and then they're like, he's like 25 million. That seems a little low. And Kansas City's like, look, we're maxing out our deal here. We're like, and you're gonna it's funny because you have some cap room, but you got a lot of free agents. And you have a lot of guys that you think are going to take hometown discounts that aren't. And Amon-Ra is a guy, listen, he's from California. He went to USC. I think he's from California. I mean, so let me ask you this here. The Chargers lay waste to everybody. Are you going to tell me he wouldn't want to play with Herbert? Are you telling me that the Tennessee Titans wouldn't give him a boatload of money? Titans, I know, got like 70 or 80 million. When the Titans give you, let me throw this out there. When if the Titans gave you Harold Landry and a number 1 for Amon-Ra? Do you really say? Can you imagine Harold? I have a man crush on Harold Landry, but put Harold Landry on the opposite end of Aiden Hutchinson. Let me make it a little better. All right. Jeffrey Simmons in a second for Amon-Ra. Do you really turn that down? Can you imagine Jeffrey Simmons in the middle of that defense? And by the way, before you say I'm nuts, Tyreek Hill was loved in Kansas City. They couldn't make it work. I guarantee you every single Chiefs fan said the same thing that you're saying right now. I guarantee you. So it happens, man. It happens. There were okay. So I think we're close to the same age. Remember, the 49ers had to let Jerry Rice go so they could sign Terrell Owens. Do you remember that? They had like Jerry Rice Day, and the team covered Jerry Rice. So Terrell Owens had like 21 receptions. It was an NFL record. People think that Joe Montana ended his career in Kansas City. Brett Favre ended it in Minnesota. It happens, man. It really happens. Go old school history. Bobby Lane wins championships for the Lions. They trade him. The Bobby Lane curse. Who'd you play against in the playoffs? Matthew Stafford. Yeah. And by the way, I mean, he was a 4th round pick. He deserves a lot of money. He may not get it in Detroit. And I say that because Tyreek Hill's in Miami. Do I think it will happen? Yeah, I fully expect this offseason soon. Amon-Ra signs a big deal with the Lions. And if I'm the Lions, I reset the market. I overpay him. And I do this to fuck the Vikings out of Justin Jefferson. So Pacheco, number 2. Maybe I wasn't clear. I meant out of all their weapons. Oh, no. I meant number 2 running back. Out of all the weapons, I don't know. 5. No, I mean, yeah. This is why the Niners are favored, and they should be favored. And of all those guys, I think Trent Williams is better than all of them. Easy. Yeah. So here's the deal. This is why this is a fun Super Bowl. The Chiefs have the better defense, slightly. I think much, maybe not much better, but I think out of the two teams, Chiefs have better defense. They have better quarterback. They have better head coach. Talent, especially all this offensive talent, 49ers. This team's a much better team than Kansas City played 4 years ago. I really think that if the Chiefs and the Niners played the same level of game in the Super Bowl 4 years ago, the Chiefs win by like 3 or 4 touchdowns. I watched the Chiefs really struggle for 3.5 quarters. Like, it was missed passes. Watch if you watch, he threw an interception, I think, directly to Fred Warner, and he didn't do that all year. I mean, the Chiefs were just self-destructing, and the Niners were playing really good. I think the Niners probably played like a B plus game, and the Chiefs played like a C plus. Both teams were played A games. Then the Chiefs win that game by a couple touchdowns. This year, if both teams play an A game, the Niners win. Chiefs have to outplay the Niners. I don't buy in. I hate when people use that like NFL is rigged, but I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. If there's a hit on Purdy, there's a good chance there's no call, and that same hit on Mahomes, you may get 15. The Chiefs may need 1 or 2 of those things to happen. Andy Reid has to win the coaching battle. Mahomes can't. If Brock Purdy outplays Mahomes, there's no way Chiefs win. No way. I think the best bet is Mahomes MVP if you're a Chiefs fan, because you can get that 125. That's the play. But I do have some interesting prop bets I do want to go over. Before I get out of here. Let's see here. Player parlays. Don't do any of that crap. Team prop. There should be an anywhere touchdown. I can't see, but I do want to go over some prop bets. So you're right. I seriously. If they're smart, they get it done. And I think they will. But if Lions fans are thinking, oh, he'll take a hometown discount, he'll take a $15 million a year to play with us. No. Well, Perry, I will say this. 49ers, Steve gave up 31 to the Lions. Kansas City gave up 14 without CJ. 95 out there. 49ers gave up 33 to the Ravens. Kansas City gave up 10. 49ers have a great front seven. Chiefs have a great back seven, arguably the best defensive tackle in the game. That is true. The one thing I like about the Niners, though, is that depth along the defensive line. That's why I think that they can just play 4, but just rotate guys in constantly, and that will be the key, because I think that's how you beat Mahomes, is just use 4. I think Penei Sewell's better, to be honest with you, Perry. I really do. I think Penei Sewell's better, but you can use the 5th-year deal, and there's a lot of things that you can do with a right tackle. You can claim, the right tackle position isn't as highly paid as the wide receiver position, and wide receiver position is just skyrocketing faster than any other position. So, writing was on the wall. Tyreek, though, Drew Rosenhaus is his agent. Family lives in Florida. Better weather, no income tax, most accurate quarterback. Pat and Travis are best friends. Tyreek was the third. Hill won more targets in 169. I don't think writing was on the wall, to be honest. My point of position player talent around Kittle is position player talent around Kel. Okay, I'm going to shut up before I know you know an important story. Rosenhaus is a greedy scumbag agent. He doesn't have the player's best interest. He just wants to sign his guy for big money so he can make more money. If Kansas City wide receiver plays consistently, Kansas City should win this game. I agree with that. And when I say and when you say receivers, I'm talking outside of Rice. Like MVS showed up big. Kadarius Toney didn't play. I think he'll be active for the Super Bowl. That's going to be a story to watch. Justin Watson is a guy that Patrick Mahomes really likes to lean into. I know you said wide receivers, but Noah Gray, the number 2 tight end, I think has got to really step up too. So I want to talk about passing props here, and I'll be honest with you. These numbers are gonna. I think Purdy's a little high. It's 243.5, and Mahomes is 258.5. The over is at -130. If you like the over, I would not take any one of these numbers. But if you like the under, and with Mahomes, I think the under, because this number is going to skyrocket, I would lean towards the under. Right now, the under 258.5 is even money. You're not wrong about Rosenhaus, Perry, but you can't let players off the look. They hire him, Scott Boras, and MLB Drew Rosenhaus in the NFL. The other guy in the return. Yeah, exactly. So I want to touch base on something that I really like. And it's something I don't have enough guts to do because I'm such a big fan. But out of the prop bets, the one I'm eyeballing the most, and it might be the best prop bet, is Travis Kelce, 69.5. And this number is going to go up. Remember, he had 11 catches, 113 yards, and a touchdown. But in the Super Bowl previous, he had 7 catches, 43 yards, and a touchdown. I really like the under for Kelce, but don't take 69.5. This number is going to be over 70. I think it'll probably be like 74.5, 75. There's a chance this goes all the way up to 76. I would strongly suggest if you do prop betting, I'm looking at the under on Kelce receiving yards. I think that's a solid bet. There's no way I'm going to bet that because I'm a big Travis Kelce fan, but against the Niners in the 4 years ago, he had 43 yards. And I talked about matchups. If I'm the 49ers, I try everything I can to take Kelce away. So I kind of like that prop bet, Kelce under. Do it later. If you like the over 69.5, do it now. Rushing yards. By the way, I looked at this earlier. It was 50. It was 87, 86 something. It's now at 90.5 over for Christian McCaffrey. If you like the over on the rushing yards, by the way, Isaiah Pacheco's jumped up to 70.5. I didn't have a chance to go over this. Deebo Samuel's a good one, 13.5. And again, I think that's over. But Brock Purdy is 12.5. Patrick Mahomes is 25.5. But Isaiah Pacheco's been skyrocketing up. McCaffrey's been skyrocketing up. Deebo Samuel at 13.5 because I think he's going to get a lot of carries. So I like the Deebo Samuel over. Mahomes is 25.5. Pick your poison on how you want to do that. Chiefs super fan. Yeah. It's a great feeling, man. Great feeling. Let me see here. Total yards, McCaffrey 131.5. This number is going to go way up. Depending on how high it gets, you may want to consider the under. But if the 49ers win, he would be my number one player to pick as MVP. Isaiah Pacheco, 91.5. That number, of course, is also going to Chief Superfan says 49ers are called the 49ers because they can't get past the 49-yard line. Again, if you like the Pacheco total yards, 91.5. This is a big number, by the way. Should have already bet the over. If you like the under, which is not a bad bet, actually, consider it. Rashee Rice right now, 67.5. I wouldn't touch that because he could have 40, he could have 120. I don't know. By the way, so playoff MVS is a thing. No, MVS really both playoff games, big catches. Not going to be at Kansas City next year, but big playoff performances, and that's a big thing. And I have no idea if we're going to see a Kadarius Toney play or not. But yeah, you're right. Without MVS, and by the way, I talked about this. If I'm the Niners, I put Ward on Rice, I bracket Kelsey, and I try to make MVS, Kadarius Toney, Justin Watson, Noah Gray beat us. So. Players need to do what's best for them. Most of the time, going for the biggest contract may hurt the player in the long run. He can't produce like he did with the old team. One thing though about the agents that you're talking about, baseball's a little different, but the big money from the agents comes on commercials. The contracts are anywhere from 2% to 0.5%. Sometimes agents actually they don't do this with like your standard fifth round pick or anything, but a lot of times what they'll do is they'll say we'll do the contract for free, but we get all that agent money or all the advertising money. So a lot of people don't realize this. The agents get like anywhere from 50 to 75% of all that endorsement money. So that's one thing that a lot of people don't realize. Is that anytime you see those commercials where Patrick Mahomes doing those commercials and everything, that all that money, that most of that money goes to the agent, not the players. But I kind of looked this up just now. I'm not familiar with the Vanguard Sports Group, but I have heard of them before. That's the group that deals with Amon-Ra. It's not a huge name, but it's a name I've heard of before. So Rice is over and under. Yeah, exactly. Rashid Rice is not a player that I would even consider. But one of the things I do like if I'm going to make some Super Bowl bets here, the prop bet I really, really like is Travis Kelce under. Right now it's 69.5. It's going to keep going up. So do you think the refs decided the Chiefs' victory or people using the ref excuse? There are some bad calls, in my opinion. I really don't. I think the referees did affect the game, but I thought that the four personal foul penalties were all valid. Clowney put his head down and hit Mahomes. That's always going to be called. Clowney probably is going to get fined over that one. Travis Jones was making a football play. I love Travis Jones. I have a major man crush on him. And he's a guy who's going to get a lot of money here in a couple of years. I love Travis Jones. Wanted him in Kansas City. He punched Patrick Mahomes in the face. He was trying to swat a ball down. He hit a quarterback in the head. That's always going to be a penalty. Flowers hurt the team with the taunting penalty. There was one other play. I thought it was Roquan Smith could have been called. He actually looked up like he thought he would when Mahomes slid down. It was a good no call. But did the referees? Yeah, when there's 9 penalties versus 3. But I felt that when I looked at the Ravens, this was a team that clearly felt pressure. That triple coverage interception late in the game, that was a bad throw. That was one of those things. Lamar Jackson felt pressure. He knows that, hey, they're going to talk about this for a long time. The defense, by the way, held Kansas City to a 3-and-out after that interception. The Ravens defense played lights out. Give them a lot of credit. Did the referees affect the game? Yeah, they did. But all 4 of their personal fouls, those are always going to be called. You can't. Okay, so Keys broke this down perfectly. Flowers pushed Snead, threw the ball down, spinning it, then talked trash and stood over him. all four of those things by themselves is called, but all four of them together. One thing I really like is that a couple plays later, when Snead pops the ball out of his hand, watch the replay. Snead's about 10 yards away, but he's staring him down. It's unquestionable that he's staring him down, but he's not standing over him, staring him down. He's doing about 10 yards away. That's smart. The Clowney play they complained about, you put your head down in this day and age. If you're rushing a passer and you put your head down, that's 100% called. Always. Clowney's probably going to get fined over that hit. Ravens fans, some of them. I'm going to tell you, Baltimore's a great sports town. Baltimore's a great football town. Baltimore has some great football fans. Most of them were pretty smart. Most of them were looking at Lamar Jackson and saying, hey, you got to play better. Why didn't they want to run the ball? I don't know. That's what I would have done. So I was going to do it right before, but I have to do it on my phone. Anyway, long story short. The bet I have is a plus 125. Excuse me. Mahomes MVP. If I was going to do a prop bet, I like the under on Kelsey yards, but not 69.5. This number is going to hit 75 probably, and I would lean under on that. And then I'm kind of surprised the Kittle yardage is at 46.5, but all these are going to go up. Yeah, they did. You can go back and forth on the refs, but the refs deciding a Chiefs victory. CJ95 was tripped on the end zone, should have been a safety. Lamar intentional grounding, holding on Lamar's fourth down run that led to their only touchdown. Lions pulled the Lions, choked 17 in lead. Yeah, God, it was man, I feel bad for those guys. I really do. Hey, we were up 38-10 about 10 years ago. I remember that game. I was like, I really thought we had that in the bag. And then bam, bam, bam. Lions just really, really self-destructed. Niners also played some good ball. That's a good football team. To be fair, if the Lions had let the 49ers get the lead going into the half, the 49ers would have blown it too. It's all Kyle's. Everything. Seriously, it's kind of funny because if the Lions went into halftime down 24-7, I do think that they would have. So here's the drill. So I watched the game, but right after the Chiefs game, I worked. So I have the game on the DVR. So what I did is I deleted Instagram, muted all messages, deleted my Twitter. That way notifications, or I wouldn't be tempted. So I've done this before where I accidentally have to wait for an order and I'm just scrolling through my phone. So I didn't do any of those. So I deleted everything just in case. So I called my dad. My dad called me. I'm in a new apartment. And he wanted to know how I was. There was a fire in my building. Of course, he wants to know how I'm doing. Makes sense, right? So my dad says, I told my dad, hey, Dad, don't tell me anything about the Lions-Niners game. He's like, okay, I won't say anything. And then, so we talk for, a while. And he goes, well, the one thing is, boy, is that Niners-Lions game, that's a good one. And I was like, damn it. And what happened is the Niners got out 24-7. Or the Lions got out 20. So I knew the Niners were coming back. But what am I going to do? Dad, I'm not going to talk to you. But anyway. Lawrence, what's up, man? 513 Cincinnati, Ohio, baby. Yeah, Lawrence, what's up, man? We need more Bengals fans here, man. 5 hockey players are in a bad spot. They could end up in jail. Rockstar got here a jail time for Ben with a woman. Do you think Mahomes under? I do. maybe. To be honest with you, I have Mahomes as MVP. That's going to be the only bet I make. The passing number, I have to admit, 258.5 is a little low. I don't think he's going to throw for 300. I really don't. But I think he's going to have a few touchdowns. And I really think that I'm kind of leaning towards a low-scoring game, like a 21-17 type of game. But I think Mahomes winning MVP is the best bet. I'm not interested in 2 points or in a money line. I think Chiefs are going to win. I'm going to make a bet on Mahomes being MVP because unless like something crazy happens, Mahomes is the only guy who's going to win MVP. And keep in mind, Pacheco could do it. Kelsey could do it. Chris Jones, but my bet's going to be Mahomes winning Super Bowl MVP, and it's at plus 125, and I think that's the best bet. I think the Chiefs should win this game. The Chiefs haven't got lucky wins, while the 49ers haven't been a great playoff team as I expected. They got lucky plays like the Lions too aggressive and the miss kicked. Yeah, you have a good point. The Chiefs were in a couple wars. I mean, Buffalo was a war. Baltimore was a war. I mean, give the Niners a ton of credit for fighting back, and they made some fantastic halftime adjustments. But I'm not going to do it. But if I went back and I watched that game again, I could probably point out, like, here's the deal. I'm watching the Lions, and I'm like, this is the best team in the NFL right for 2.5 quarters. I mean, they were throwing the ball effectively. They had a nice 1-2 running attack combo, an inside-outside combo. Laporta and Amon-Ra and Jamison Williams, the dude who I remember he tore his ACL. What was it in the SEC championship game? People are talking about him running a 4.25. Remember he stiff-armed Greenlaw for that 42-yard touchdown? I'm watching that, and I'm like, if Jamison Williams is making big plays, you're fucked. And then the defense held this high-powered offense to 7 points. I'm like, this is the best team I've seen all year. Then they just fell apart. So that's my bet. So Lawrence says Kansas City is going to take it all now. Patrick Mahomes will be MVP once again. That's a bet I would recommend making. Give me a bet. Patrick Mahomes MVP at plus 125. Bet $100, you win 125. You walk out of the casino with 225. That's going to be the bet. It's going to be a small bet. The prop money. I got a free $10 bet from DraftKings. I made a few bucks off betting a Travis Kelce prop. I'm probably going to bet 10 on Mahomes MVP, and then the other, or I might do 5 and 5. There are going to be some weenie bets, but the prop bet that I would really like is I like Kelsey under on yards, but not now. Wait. So if you're going to bet a prop bet, you like to over, do it now or do it yesterday. But if you like the under, wait till Saturday. And it's right now 69. I'm not joking. The rushing yards, the rushing props all went up from a couple hours ago. McCaffrey was at either, I can't remember, it was between 86 and 89. I was like, that's high. It's 90. Isaiah Pacheco was at 69. I think it's 70. Those two are just going to keep going up. Perry says the Lions are a young team. And, 4 big rookies, and maybe your best rookie didn't even play at all this year, and that's Hendon Hooker. It's a learning experience. Losing is part of a learning win. You're right. You are right. By the way, it's happened to the Chiefs. They lost to the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. Mahomes got 300 yards plus in only 3 of 19 games so far this season. In the playoffs, he's averaged like 239. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of weird. They showed a stat in 4 playoff. It was like 4 games against the Ravens. He's averaging like, it was like 340 something. It's different. It's different game, different team. I didn't know that. The 49er defense isn't looking that well in these playoffs, period. Patrick should find a way to beat them, period. I think so. I think so. And here's the way I see this game kind of breaking down. I think the Chiefs will be able to move the ball against 49ers defense, which is a good defense. But they're missing some pieces in the secondary. Both Green Bay and Detroit had success against that defense. Okay. It's going to match up. It's going to be really interesting because you got all those weapons against a really good Chiefs defense. And I think the key to the game is going to be the Chiefs defense making Purdy make mistakes. And here's what I think has to happen for the Niners to win. Purdy doesn't have to outplay Mahomes, but he has to play really good. I think what's going to happen is I think the Chiefs defense is going to confuse Purdy enough that he's going to, instead of make those big plays he made against the Lions, he's going to make a mistake. It's going to be a close game. I don't care if Mahomes throws an interception, he's not going to blink. Nobody's going to blink. Purdy throws an interception, it's a little different. It's a little different. And I say that because that's kind of what happened again with Josh Allen. All right. He had a chance late to win that game. He missed it. Lamar Jackson had a few chances. Remember that throw into triple coverage? You're down by 4. You're going to the Chiefs have a really good defense. You're down by 4, and you're going against this Chiefs defense, and you know you got Mahomes on the other side. It's in the Super Bowl. We'll see what happens. It's going to be a great game. I would bet under 300 or 250. Yeah, the passing yards I actually thought would be a little higher. It's 258.5. I wouldn't touch that, but that number is going to go up. So I would probably take the under, but that I'll be honest with you. The passing yards I wouldn't touch. The only prop bet besides the Mahomes touchdown or Mahomes MVP, I pay attention to Kelsey yards because I really think that San Francisco is going to do everything they can to take Kelsey away. Now, if it's going to take Mahomes getting 300 yards, yeah, and that could happen. That could happen. The experienced team is Kansas City, y'all, and they are the champions from last year's. They know how to win the big game. Great coaching teams. You're right. You're right. There's just a handful of players on this 49ers team from 4 years ago. Don't get me wrong. I think if this game was being played on Madden, the Niners will win. But they got the more talented team. 4 years ago, the Chiefs easily had the more talented team. It's different. Kansas City has Jones and better cornerbacks than the Lions, plus your DC is better than ours. Yeah, I mean, it's a much better defensive team. I mean, it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good game. Kansas City probably has better everything on defense outside the edge rushers. Even then, GK isn't far behind Hutchinson. You're right. Karlaftis has played awesome this year. And what I kind of like to see is that you have Karlaftis. By the way, if you ever watch the Chiefs defensive line, and by the way, like all guys take days off, plays off. Karlaftis is the only one that always seems to go 100 miles an hour. I want to see Karlaftis on Williams just wearing his ass out. And just, I want to see him just wearing him out. And don't get me wrong, Williams will win most of those battles because he's that good. But your other, I don't even know who the right tackle is because remember McGlinchey signed with Denver in the offseason. But keep Chris Jones away from Williams. But put like Hannah, who's a smaller, faster dude, put him on Williams from time to time. Have Karlaftis wear him out. And that's going to be key because I think that this game's going to come down to just it's going to be a close game. But I think when it comes down to it, Mahomes will make plays that Purdy won't. And that's why I like the Chiefs. He really does. Karlaftis has that Tom Ali and Jared Allen motor. The one thing I love about Karlaftis, he just seems to go 100 miles an hour. And keep in mind, Trent Williams he's 36 or 37. He missed a couple games due to injury. The rest will help the Niners. But the Chiefs have more depth, except for defensive line. And that's kind of how I see this game going, is that I really think that if you're the Niners, the best way you win this game is your front four just dominates the Chiefs' offensive line. Colin McKivitz, yeah, he's just a dude. That Chris Jones has to win that. Or you put Chris Jones and Karlaftis on the same side. It's going to be a great game. There are a few things I've been wanting to talk about. You probably see me fidgeting. I'm sorry. It's just my back's bothering me. So I've been going on for about 3 hours. I can't thank you guys enough. Thank you so much for joining me coming on here. But I'm going to wrap it up here. Any final thoughts, questions? By the way, social media is below. Next week, I'm probably going to move some things around because this is uncomfortable. I have a big place. I just don't have there's only one area where I can set up the computer at. So next week, what I might do is move the computer just for the show and then move it back. We'll have to see what happens. I may just tough it out like I did this week and just fidget a lot, which I don't like doing. But by the way, if you guys want to, social media links are below. If you're not a friend of mine on social media, send a friend request. If you don't send me a friend request, it's some of my messages get filtered out. I don't know the exact way I have it set up. Twitter and Instagram's kind of weird. I used to use Facebook a lot, but I've been kicked off since Christmas, and I will have to see what happens. But that's kind of where we're at. Anyway, I will be back Friday. Hopefully I'll have the setup set up, but we'll see. It may just be like this again. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget, follow me on social media, and I'll see you all back on Friday.